All right, guys. Welcome back to another live show. Hopefully, everyone's doing good. We got a pretty good show lined up. Pretty good, interesting clips that we're going to show. Some stuff you guys seen, some stuff you guys probably have never seen. Some very, very interesting footage. We're going to be pointing out some more fantasy versus truth versus fantasy, and let you guys decide. As I think that is the main focus and choice that the community is going to have to face in terms of friendship, politics, everything else. It's going to come down to truth versus fantasy. Your friends are telling you bullshit stories. If you believe them and you tolerate that stuff, then that's your choice. And you're being lied to your face. And if you accept that and call that person a friend, then that's a choice that you have to make. And I think we are going to see more and more of that. All right, got all the stuff, I think. Should be. And it is something that, when you get told a story or have, an experience by a person, whether or not they're your friend, and you get the hint of bullshit, you don't have any hint of integrity, it's kind of sounds fishy. There's details that are off, or they keep telling the story that adding more details, more stories, and you have to make the choice of denial of, I don't believe that story, but he's my friend, and they're my friend, and so it's okay. And that is some people think that, this is drama and calling out and bullying, but at the same time, what are they doing by making that choice of denying the truth to themselves and denying their own integrity of even though the whole crowd, is believing this lie or peddling this falsehood or this story, and everyone doesn't really believe it, but no one's going to say anything about it. I mean, what does that really say? No one stands up for the truth. Hey, Miss Sandra Piper, glad to see you and stuff. Hope you're doing well. And all healed up. Doing good. Yes. So we're going to take a look at and some of that, the storytelling, the falsehood. We got a couple videos to actually look at of some potential Bigfoot evidence or not. And we are going to take a look at some interesting videos. And of course, get into some people who are potentially storytelling. Maybe not. It's up to you to make that opinion. I'm going to show you some more evidence, some more stuff. Of course, and if we'll blow all through these videos, not too much. We can jump in and maybe put the link in the chat and then surf around, show some other videos and stuff. Next week, we will probably have depends, but next week we'll probably be showcasing a particular hoaxer. And you'll probably be seeing of one of Mr. Chris Reinhardt from Discovery Sasquatch, or I think that's what it is. Of some of the hoaxing stuff he did at the 400, which the people came on here last live stream and talked about it a little bit after the mutual combat of the ring was over with, and we had two people come out better than ever and friends. So after that little scuffle and stuff, we talk about it. So you'll probably see a video from the 400 crew first, and then by next Saturday rolls around, we'll have some stuff possibly showcasing some of that, maybe some different stuff. Depends on what they show, but maybe have some of those guys on, maybe not. I'll have a link in the live show probably, but depends on what happens this week, of course. I don't like to plan stuff out too far in advance because you never know what can happen, what can be brought up. Well, I hope you just getting better, every day, little by little. That's all that matters. Just getting better. So, all right. So we get started first. Let's get started with Let's get started with this video right here. And supposedly this is take a look at it right here. Of course, it's just a baby Bigfoot just hanging around. What do you guys think? Where is it at? Do you guys see it? Is it right there? Is that the face? Is the face in the middle more inside the cavity of the tree? I'm not sure. What are we looking at? Of course, this is just a little video clip. Not much context, of course, other than baby Bigfoot's just hanging around. So is the face right up here, or is it more like down here, like in the darkness more? Is this the face right here with this nose coming out and this eyeball, or is it like down there more? Right. I guess it's all up to interpretation, since that's pretty much what we're seeing. There's no movement. There's nothing that shows us to be a live, realistic animal with movement. It is just a stagnant tree cavity that looks a little funky. That is standing still. How's it going, Cryptidville? And that's what gets passed off as evidence, or oh, I had an encounter, this baby Bigfoot. This baby Bigfoot's just hanging around. It walked out this, around the tree, and it, looks to be half covered in snow. The face is half covered in snow, like it's been, perched in that position for a good solid 30 minutes, not moving at all. Or who knows, Yeah, it's just cheap thrills, storytelling, fake hoaxing, blatantly. And that we're dealing with, and it's on so many different levels. As easy as just go out there, film a little tree stump, a little snag in the tree, something that looks odd, and all you need is good caption, maybe a little story, but you just need a good caption and put it on the internet, and there you go. So maybe as we'll get into this more, I don't think it doesn't really matter. We'll hear it from some of these people. It doesn't really matter. Who cares if it's real or not? We'll just post it and promote it. Of course, like the Squatch Watchers would do, they would promote the crap out of it, and which is not where I found that. So let's take a look at some more stuff that can easily be used to trick us, to fool the average people into thinking, oh, we're really experiencing stuff out there because we're hearing stuff, or we're seeing stuff. I got evidence because this happened, without actually going in and looking at the details, trying to find tracks, trying to find more evidence, trying to engage with the interaction to determine if it's a natural, normal animal like a deer that you're encountering out in the woods after dark, or the potential target subject of Sasquatch or some other cryptid. Let's take a look at simple things that we are dealing with these liars and hoaxers and storytellers that they can easily use to fabricate and help themselves propel their basically web of lies, because that's what it comes down to. It's lying. It's not storytelling. There's not fibbing. They're lying to you, to your face, and then they're saying, "Yeah, you're my friend," right?
Oh my goodness, so many horses. What the hell is that behind you? Oh my god, that's not a horse. What the fuck is that? Alright, what are those eyes behind you? What the fuck? What is that? What is that? Oh, fuck me. Okay, excuse me, there's some kind of thing. Okay, hey, sorry. Oh god, was it? Oh, hi, honey. Oh, it's just you. Okay, Jesus Christ.
It doesn't take much, That person knew it was the horse the whole time, and just play it off, and it's easy. 98,000 views or whatever. And then for a Bigfooter, all you need is some eye shine of deer. What gives eye shine in the woods? Well, deer does. We know that raccoons do, possums, owls, what other, coyotes with their animal life, which makes a whole crap load of racket, which people get confused with animal calls. And some of these very old, when I've been doing these audio investigations with Debbie, I looked into a lot of these old calls from Washington, and they do sound like coyotes and stuff. The more I listen to, and the more stuff that I've heard, audio that I have captured, like the cackling. There's definitely one that I've captured, I've heard before, and some people are definitely getting mixed up. But still, that was a pretty good example of how eyeshine can be used to, in a good story, can propel a basic video of nothing into a lot of views, and it's very easy for Bigfooters to do the same, to manipulate, to you, and to be out like the Squatchers. They're out there, they're pretending things are happening. Sometimes they throw rocks and then think it's Bigfoot because they didn't hear the rock land properly, and so to them, potentially the Bigfoot catches the rock. And we've shown that here several times. And all of a sudden they're on this, adventure, and they're, having Bigfoot here and they're having this here. And all of a sudden they get lucky and they film some eye shine. And then, oh my gosh, it's Bigfoot. And it's probably a deer, especially the way it acts and the way it moves, and, head bobs, and, deer go down to the ground to eat its food and stuff like that. It's like common sense, I guess, experience when you're actually out there, and having integrity to really try to determine what you're dealing with, and not just slapping a Bigfoot sticker and saying, oh, it's good. We don't need to go over there. I'm too scared. We got eye shine. It's Bigfoot. If you know how to look at the vocalizations correctly, keyword exactly, on a spectrogram, you can tell the difference between real vocals, known animals, and folks faking it. Somewhat, yes and no. I think for the most part, a lot of people can recognize most differences, but a lot of people get coyote calls confused. There's some barn owls can sound scary. A lot of people get these confused. A lot of people have the hooting and stuff of a group of barred owls sound like monkeys and stuff going crazy. Orangutan or chimpanzees going crazy, monkeys going crazy, and a lot of people get tricked. A lot of these experts have, and we've shown on here, I think the Squatch Watchers especially have heard the most basic barred owl call and proclaimed, it's Bigfoot, yelling at them to get out of the woods, nonetheless, but as they're smirking away. I think some people, it just depends on who, because some people just don't know what they're doing or know what to talk about, as we've shown with Patrick Vaughn coming on to Mark Newbell Sawdust Beast TV show. Patrick Vaughn, a known hoaxer, got caught lying and fabbing and fabricating and spinning a web of lies and getting caught up in so many of them he couldn't keep it straight. And we've shown some examples here, plenty of examples to get into. And when they showed audio, and Mark Newbell went in, and he at that point said 7 years experience and determined it was from an unknown animal. Found that very intriguing, because since he's a hoaxer and stuff, and it didn't sound like an unknown animal to me, it sounded like a pretty good coyote. That expertise don't really mean nothing, don't really mean much. I'm not sure, where, how he deduced that, but it's that sort of stuff, the cheapness. It's like, okay, well, you didn't really investigate, or maybe you knew it wasn't really that good, but you're his friend, he's coming on the interview, and so you kind of beef it up by saying, well, it's from an unknown animal. It's from, I determined it was from an unknown animal. Okay, sure. And then when you have Debbie Jones, we'll get into her. We've got some videos, more videos on her, of her getting caught hoaxing and claiming other audio hoaxes as other audio as hers, and getting caught hoaxing. And of course, the story of how it all got onto her recorders or in the presentations, multiple different presentations at different events, different years, nonetheless. Doesn't add up. Just doesn't add up. But it's all good. We're dealing with people and when she gets caught hoaxing and stuff, and then she sends supposedly real audio, the only 2 or 3 audio survived everything else that wasn't found out to be a hoax. Miraculously, all of them are sent to some supposedly a better expert than the Beast TV guys, Sawdust Beast, whatever, determined to be real. And now it's like, oh well, overlook everything else that was a little shady. And to me, it's like, well, it calls into question their expertise and the audio even more. And it's just maybe these so-called experts aren't really as qualified and don't have the expertise that we believe or wish they have. I've never personally talked to the I can't remember the name. It was one of the two dudes that work with Ron Moorhead with audio and stuff. We thought it was real, but it just brings into question some stuff. And if it was determined to be a hoax, it just questions their validity and everything else that they've worked on. And I think, people need to look at evidence and the stories and stuff objectively sometimes, and not look at the face or the friendship before them or on the telephone, or just because this person is really good, have the gift of gab and can talk your ear off, doesn't mean that the story is true. It doesn't mean that the encounter or the evidence that they're actually presenting you is real and not a hoax and not false and stuff. So a lot of people want to hopefully you guys can see me. I might be chopping up and out. It looks like on my end I'm cutting out, but aren't they lying to your face? Aren't they lying to you? And aren't we trying to find the truth, be scientific about it, try to not get the stereotypical Bigfoot persona that we've been deemed by the mainstream media laughing stock and stuff. We tolerate just people lying to us and stuff. Well, they're my friend. I can't call them out. I don't want to say nothing. Well, it's kind of snowing here a little bit in Michigan. We've had kind of a half blizzard, I would say. It wasn't too bad like they were saying, so the weather might be picking up a bit, so we might have a bit of a lag sometimes. I'm not quite sure how bad it's going to be, but just going to keep rolling, see how it goes. I'm going to show this other video here. We're going to get into we'll show this one. All right. So as I want to introduce myself, share some photos I took. I run the Squatch Topic PA on YouTube, Facebook, Messenger, blah, blah, blah. I'm just boots on the ground, operating out of Washington County, blah, blah, blah. These are the photos he took. So let's look at these photos. And, I'm not trying to call out the dude or anything, but when you post them online and stuff, they're meant to be looked at and stuff, right? Evidence is supposed to be looked at and critiqued. And so let's look what he got. Let's just see. Obviously you guys can probably see and look at it. And what do you guys see? Face? Do you guys see it disappeared right there? You guys can see you guys can see everything, right? Clear as day. Let's take a little zoom in look here in a second and try to determine what we're seeing. Obviously, I think some people might say, oh, there's a face there. And it's right, obviously right in the middle of the picture. I see trees. Sandwich serpent. Savant. Yeah. So let's take a closer look. So what are we looking at? Well, this is a picture of nothing. This is the picture of I think that was one face. And so let's get a different picture right here. So as we zoom in and stuff, I think what we're seeing is the tree branches and some foliage mixed in there, and the movement of the camera, the movement, possibly the foliage if it's windy. Going to create different in the shadows of the camera, the light, the dude's moving. It's going to create a different face, different effect. It's going to, appear like, oh, it's there 1 second. Now there's this one face. Now there's this other face. And to me, I would say it's definitely branches and stuff. And to this person, do they knowingly think do they know it's branches and they're just saying it's Bigfoot because it looks like a cool picture? That would be hoaxing, right? That's lying, right? Are they out there and really believe that's Bigfoot? Did they see it? Did they see it in real time and stuff like that? Did they just say, oh, well, really cool pictures. I didn't really look at it. I didn't see it. I didn't hear nothing, but wow, it looks like Bigfoot. That's not really investigating much. That's kind of fantasy. That's not really researching anything. You just confirmation bias. I was just kind of almost about to say that. And I think that's a lot of the time, because people aren't really, it's just Bigfoot, whatever. Well, is it in? Is it important? Is it not? You want to present evidence. You want to try to be a researcher. Then, okay, well, half-ass shit gets half-ass. It's lackluster stuff. It is. So either the person really believes the Kool-Aid and it's like, oh my God, hearing birds or whatever, take some photographs and got lucky and believes it. Half-ass believes it, knowingly knows that it's nothing but trees and still decides to lie, still decides to hoax people, spin a web of lies. And I think a lot of people are spinning these lies, and a lot of people are friends with them, and it's ridiculous is what it is. And we can see this with the people that we've talked about. You can watch these people just talk about their stories over and over. Patrick Vaughn's a good example. He came on the scene, became friends with a lot of people, threw a lot of good charades out there about second generation, third generation tracker, but can't actually talk to you about actual tracking. It's more or less the philosophy of it and all that. But his whole story about being chased, seeing a female, the whole shebang, shabada, blah, 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 all fake, all lies. And now, he lurks in the shadows of some groups and, doesn't give interviews anymore because he's got called out on it so many times. Gets flip-flopped on so many different details. Of course, it's a good excuse when you it's not hate, I ain't dark. It's just the truth. You have so many different excuses of why, I just can't, there's nothing happens when I get on camera. I just can't, and then you find tracks, you do this, well, you don't have to get them on camera. If you find a track, just take a picture of the track. We can get into it and stuff like that. And, it's the same thing. If he's hoaxing and stuff and he's knowingly lying to you, and then he's like, but you're my friend. Is he your friend? This dude's making up a story, lying to you. Is it fibbing? It's okay. It's whatever, or like, well, he's lying to you. He's making up this stuff. Wouldn't he lie about other things? Are you sure? He's like, hey, acceptable to you? Because that's what it is the truth versus fantasy. And I think that's what this comes down to, is when these people go on and it might take a while and stuff, and then you slowly but surely figure out that it's full of bullshit. Like, what do Do you want to accept that and keep going along and drinking the Kool-Aid, and you keep hearing more of these stories that you have to think, well, maybe it's kind of half-assed, but he's a good buddy, and you're continual, and then you're like, well, we need to find the truth and Bigfoot researching, and well, if you can't have both, that's a conflict of interest. That's kind of a conflict of integrity, because what side are you really got? Which side are you going to push? Who are you going to choose? You could choose the truth, or are you going to continue to back a person who's lying to your face because he's a nice person, he's my friend, even though he got called out and shown that he was hoaxing by other people and has got caught up in his lies? He wasn't hoaxing, he was lying. Well, I've seen him present audio evidence with Mark Newbell. So if he was lying the whole entire time, what does that mean? That's not Bigfoot audio? That's not Bigfoot evidence, in which he would know that's not Bigfoot evidence and still present it as such? Wasn't that hoaxing? Lying, hoaxing? I mean, he's lying about the story, about it being about everything, all the encounters and researching about it. I mean, isn't it hoaxing? Is lying? It's lying to your face about stuff. I mean, and then wants to be friends with everyone. And I guess, we could do a deep dive into Patrick Vaughn if necessary to fully get into some of the stuff he's claimed and stuff. Well, it's fine. If you want to be friends with the hoaxers and known liars who come out and just are lying about everything. I guess it doesn't matter, right? We'll hear that. We're about to play a clip where it doesn't really matter. The truth doesn't really matter. Fantasy doesn't matter. Stories. I mean, who cares? It's just. And why? What's the point of Bigfoot research? I mean, who cares? It's just fantasy. It's just storytelling. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's real. It doesn't matter if it's a story. Let's write it down. Let's take the data. Let's try to learn. Let's try to learn from a mixture of the truth and fantasy. Let's try to learn from stuff that's not even real, from a person who's lying to your face because he's nice, because he has a good voice, because he tells a good story in a nice way that a lot of people like. Can we learn anything from that? No, it's all fantasy. How could we learn anything? It's fantasy. It's made up by con artists. I mean, I don't. What's the scientific data from that? Nothing. If we were going to be scientific about it, we'd have to check, right? The scientific method, right? We have to check hypothesis. We have to check other people's data. What do scientists allow other scientists and stuff, and data researchers, biologists, zoologists, and every other researchers out there allow other people to lie, to hoax, get caught hoaxing this stuff, get caught hoaxing archaeological stuff? Are they allowed to still continue to do what they're doing because they're my friend? Aren't they ousted? Aren't they known as hoaxers? Aren't they rubber stamped as don't believe these people? Or do we have a bunch of hoaxing and fake people and all this going on officially and stuff? It's not drama. I mean, it's being logical. We're pointing out people who have lied, continuing to lie to people, who are making up stuff, who just storytell. They're just storytelling. It doesn't matter if it's real information. I got it from an email. I really don't know if it's real or not. I just, making up stories and stuff, getting clicks, getting views. I'll have anyone on, give interviews on. Doesn't matter if it's real or not. Who cares? Come out. I don't know if I have that video still up. different people get paired up, have friends and stuff, and do a little hoaxing, and then jump ship, and then friends with other people, and other people don't know that they've hoaxed in the past. And then, of course, they don't want to look at the information. Well, he's my friend. I mean, I believe him. I don't want to look at the information. I don't want to actually investigate and listen to a story and, potentially listen to on a different interviews and podcasts and, wait a minute, he's added stuff here. Wait a minute. He never mentioned this. And all of a sudden this starts happening. It's like, well, Mr. Patrick Bond, I mean, when you spread lies and you can't keep track of them, you can't keep track of your hoaxes, and you add stuff, you forget stuff. But he was pretty good about never really showing much evidence and stuff, so he could never really get called out on stuff because, well, I couldn't carry my camera out there because they would never show up, and I could never get evidence of footprints because, just not what I do. Third generation tracker, but when you try to talk about tracking and stuff, more like the philosophy of it, and not really actually. Well, I guess maybe he's not a good teacher on how to track. I don't know. Maybe he's a good tracker. He just doesn't know how to teach. And, it's fine. I think just the main thing is, like, it's the truth versus fantasy. And if these people are telling stories, maybe you don't care. It's a little white lie. It's a little fib. It's fine. It's okay. I mean, aren't they still lying to you? Just because, you want to, believe them because they're nice and stuff, So let's take a look at this video. Let's take a look at this. Let's hear this clip. Let's get an opinion of it.
Hey, I got this email recently. This is one of those emails that's really kind of profound. I didn't know whether to believe this or not, and it really doesn't matter. I'd probably do the story anyway. But I kind of had a back and forth with this writer, and I'm almost convinced he's being very honest. He's not showing any signs, at least in an email exchange, that lets me know he's making this up. He's not sensationalizing anything, and he seems very honest when he responds to me and in his story. So I'm going to read this story, and I think this is going to blow your doors off. It's really good, and it's really scary.
Yeah, but does it really matter? Because if it's real or not, it doesn't really matter. Still going to read it, still going to post it, right? It doesn't really matter. And you know what's funny is I thought I was going to have to look hard to find him saying this. It took me less than 5 minutes. And it was the first minute of a show a month ago. Just some random thing I picked. And it's funny because, well, this is what everyone, promotes and joined. And, it's good. Everyone loves listening to them, right? Doesn't really matter if it's a true story or if it's fake, it's made up, if it's whatever. We're going to bag it, tag it, put it on the internet, and let everyone imagine. And, some people, try to get data off of it. Some people try to believe it. Some people believe it. Some people go out there to these spots or whatever. And does it matter? I mean, you heard it from. We can play it again. I don't think he really cares if it's made up, a factual story about Bigfoot, a lie, a bold-faced lie to his face. I don't think he cares. I think he cares about putting it on here and making some money, getting some more subs, getting some views. Isn't that? I mean, if the truth don't really matter, then what matters? Not the validity of the story. Doesn't care if he pushes the truth out to all of you. Doesn't care if you guys get the truth or a story, a bullshit made up story by anyone or himself. Who knows? Oh, yeah, of course, Well, you got to and stuff because, eventually you run out of all the legitimate sounding stuff that you could grab to use as stories. And then you're just forced to, start making up your own, is what I'm guessing. Oh, man, Dix, I really love that one story that you made up or, didn't or... Is it acceptable? Oh, well, Dixie, he's a cool guy. He's a good voice. He's really cool. He's really friendly. He's friends with everyone. He's just telling stories, not really a Bigfoot researcher, right? I mean, just influencing other people because, they hear this and, oh, it might be real. It might not be real. Or they get told this story by someone else who listen to it and who, they start regurgitating the information that they hear from this story onto real people who want to learn about research. And now it's potentially real. It's real now. Telephone game, the source doesn't really matter. Oh, I heard it from someone who said, it sounds crazy. I just heard this crazy encounter. All these military dudes rushing in and shooting them all up. And it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter where the source comes from. Doesn't really matter. Who cares? Who cares? Content creation. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter about the research of Bigfoot. Doesn't matter about the next 60 years of Bigfoot. Doesn't matter about what evidence we get or legitimate stuff or real research or real anything because why does it? Yeah, exactly. Why does it matter? We just tell stories and we'll just make up stuff on Chat GPT and we'll just, read emails that anyone can send in and make up and you don't have to verify anything. Who cares? We'll just live in fantasy land, I guess. We'll just, we'll just do our thing, make content creation and, be cool, be fine. Except people lying to our faces and stuff. Let's just play this one more time because it doesn't really matter. The truth versus fantasy.
Hey, I got this email recently. This is one of those emails that's really kind of profound. I didn't know whether to believe this or not, and it really doesn't matter. I'd probably do the story anyway. But I kind of had a back and forth with this writer, and I'm almost convinced he's being very honest. He's not showing any signs, at least in an email exchange, that lets me know he's making this up. He's not sensationalizing anything, and he seems very honest when he responds to me and in his story. So I'm going to read this story, and I think this is going to blow your doors off. It's really good, and it's really scary.
It's really good. It's really scary, guys. Yeah. If he made the story up himself, wasn't he lying to you by saying it's from an email, a dude in an email? So he's lying to everyone in his audience? Oh, it's just a little fib. It's just a little detail. It don't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And I think he's it doesn't really matter, right? To some people, I guess it doesn't matter. Research matters. The truth matters. Real research matters, I guess, from people who are not telling stories and live in fantasy land or not lying to your face or hoaxing you. It matters to some people. I don't want to be friends with anyone lying to me, or I don't want to be around people who would lie to your face and hopefully, keep lying to your face and keep lying to your face, and when they know it's full of shit. Yeah, I mean, I what kind of a person is that? Lying to your face to the point where, do they really believe it, or are they, there's a lot of people who have a lot of issues in this cryptid community, and have issues, and are out there and experiencing everything, and yeah, they're on their personal journeys and stuff, but I mean, if you think that people with brain damage are out there and experiencing stuff and are viable to lead you out there and experience stuff and are not putting themselves at danger, and you don't question anything. People have severe mental issues. You don't question any fucking thing. You just believe it because you like them. Okay, I mean, that's your choice, but like, reality comes into play, and if the truth matters, then you need to question people. If you don't know, yes, it's an entertainment channel. Okay, well, I'm glad he finally slapped that Band-Aid onto himself, because if code word, it's just fantasy channel, it's just made up lies, it's not real. It's entertainment. It's a nice catchphrase, but I mean, it's fine. Everyone has their opinion and stuff, and it doesn't mean anything. Nope. Just tells a good story and stuff. But again, this is stuff that we are needed to address because it's fantasy versus reality, and not everyone who's out there is falling into this stuff. But there are people who just can't help but live in fantasy for whatever reasons. They can't help but straight up just make up stories and lie. I mean, for whatever reason, it's a lot easier just to tell stories than to research to Bigfoot or to go out there and do some stuff. I know he's been out with Mark Newbell and all of them, which is not saying much, but more or less you're just camping, don't do anything. But yes, I sorry to hear that. I think because you had a medical incident with leukemia or something you had, or something like that. I'm sorry. But if you want to get out there, okay, so if you're, I wasn't really talking about you when I made the comment, but yeah, there's people out there and they have traumatic brain issues and stuff, and they're out there and they're experiencing stuff, and they're by themselves with no other witnesses, I mean, scientifically, it's going to be called into question. It's not just immaturity, but like in a court of law and stuff, if you're the only witness and you have a traumatic brain injury, it's going to be used against you. In the scientific realm, if your research is done and you have a traumatic brain injury or whatever, it's going to be questioned. We're not allowed to question people because of that, because of your friends, or because of whatever. That doesn't make sense. Oh, you let them live in La La Land. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe for the betterment of their health. But if we want to get anywhere and things to be accepted and for us to be taken seriously, and you guys want to have integrity, and you guys want to be professional and stuff, right? You got to look at everyone, your friends, your mentors, your idols, heroes in the Bigfoot community. It doesn't matter. If you find out they're lying, you find out they're hoaxing, you find out shit's bullshit. Is it just truth versus fantasy? You want this to be a good scientific arena that's viable and can contend with other scientific leagues. Like, we're supposed to have scientists come in here and join up with us, and they're join up with these storytellers that don't make sense, that are lying to you. These join up with these channels that have a big subscriber base because because of that. What do you really think when it really comes down to the bottom of it? and you vet evidence, you vet people, and you vet research, and you vet the lies, you vet the storytelling and stuff. You think scientists are gonna want to work with people who are lying, people who make up stuff, people who showcase hoaxing as evidence, people who have mental issues, people who have brain damage and stuff like that? It's going to be questioned and looked at. It's going to be like judgment on them, and it's not a bad thing. This doesn't mean the end of the world. It's because Iron Dog, you've had, you claim you have brain damage and stuff, and you have medical stuff. Doesn't mean that your research isn't viable. It just means that it might get a second glance looked over, might get looked over a couple more times. It doesn't mean anything bad. Shouldn't we look at people's evidence? Shouldn't we look at people? Shouldn't we vet whether or not they're lying? Shouldn't they vet if it's real? If they're deliberately lying to you, isn't that hoaxing? Is it only hoaxing if they're just showing evidence? If they don't show evidence, they're just lying to you. It's not hoaxing, right? They didn't show any evidence. It's all the kind of same thing. And, I don't know what, I don't think I've presented any immaturity by doing this. I think I've gone about this the right way, and I got to call it, I got to be straight about it, That's why you can't tiptoe around the subject. Can't tiptoe when I said, if someone has brain damage or out there researching, you should double check their research. That it's what? Should we be politically correct about that? How should I go about that? Should we, what? Or just, I don't really care. Be bold and say it how it is. And like, okay, well, this is the discussion, right? We're adults here, right? It's not immature to talk about things, right? Oh, I do make fun of how Mark Newbell talks. Mark, I like how he talks, and it slows down, and he takes forever to say something. Oh well, I guess. Do I need to know information that might change my mind and might make fun of him because he has fucking brain damage or something? Yeah, that'd be good information to know. Might change the way I go about things with him. Are you saying he has brain damage and stuff? And no? Okay, well. Oh, well. People make fun of everyone else, and does it really matter? You can go about it how other you want. I pick on people who are, I think, people who can handle it and stuff a little bit more than people who might have issues and stuff, and people who might be sensitive and soft skin, and like all these other people are so worried about, everyone's worried about, feelings and stuff. Well, maybe you shouldn't be in this arena because, feelings don't matter when you're presenting evidence of Bigfoot and it's about the truth versus fantasy, right? It's like, an archaeologist, any group of scientists, it doesn't matter what field they're in. If they find a discovery, well, my feelings matter more than the truth, objective truth of the reality of the evidence. My feelings matter more than any of the evidence or anything, right? Is that where we're going? You can't hurt his feelings, even though you're exposing his storytelling lies. It's hurting his feelings, so it's not right to do. So it's acceptable to have lies and stuff, It's double standard. It's a joke, Feelings don't matter when it's objective scientific scrutiny. Your feelings don't fucking matter when you're gonna be objectively looked at, especially the evidence. And we want us to be not, cryptozoology, bullshit, fantasy studies, right? We actually want to be considered real, taken seriously by the professionals, right? Or do we not? Do we just don't care? Do we care about fantasy storytelling and feelings and keeping our friendships alive? Or are we trying to prove the scientific existence of Sasquatch and Bigfoot or some of these other cryptids? What matters more? I think some people are going to have to choose. I mean, it's your friendships with these people matter more, and then that's fine. You want to get lied to, you don't, that's fine. That's totally up to you. It's good. To me, I think the subject and what we're trying to prove, the truth of the matter, and trying to not get laughed at by a joke by everyone who, says, we're actually researching Bigfoot. I think that matters a little bit more than being friends with a person who continues to lie to my face because he's nice. And he's probably a good friend too, but, continuing to lie in my face doesn't seem as important as finding the fucking truth about Sasquatch and proving it the right way, with integrity, not with bullshit. And, so it is what it is. You guys choose. What do you want to accept? What do you want to tolerate? Where do you want to go in this subject? What do you want the subject to be? Because in 60 more years, if we believe the fantasies and we tolerate friendship and we don't scrutinize any evidence scientifically or anything, don't call it hoaxers, and I wonder where we're going to be at. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good stories. A lot of people are going to have a lot of good stories, not much evidence, a lot of good stories. For whatever excuse of reasons, just, or we're going to have like evidence that can be looked at, scrutinized, stuff that can stand the scrutiny to be proven as more legitimate than the bullshit stories. Like, if the truth kills it, let it die. If that's your story, you're telling the Bigfoot community, the subject is frowned, being caught as a hoaxer is frowned upon and shunned and judged, and people like to, just ban you because of the integrity that was once in the subject to prove the unknown species, not to be found out as a liar, a storyteller, and hoaxer. You were kicked out, you were banned, you were shunned because it was only about integrity. You find evidence and stuff. It's all you have. And I value that more than a good story, a good friendship. And it's built on a story of lies to your face. I mean, you commented earlier, if they lie about little shit, and they'll lie about everything. We've had people on, we've shown stuff on here. People lying on a live show saying they got attacked by a Bigfoot and then hurting themselves and promoting this hoax for whatever reason and stuff. It happens. People go to some pretty extreme lengths. Oh, we shouldn't call him out because it might hurt his feelings. Well, you shouldn't have done that. Hurt my feelings by not being professional and degrading all the real researchers out here. Does my feelings matter? I didn't think so. So we're going to show this other clip right here. Actually, it didn't download. This other one didn't. Now that I'm noticing it, it didn't. I don't see it, but that's okay. We'll jump into this other one we got ready. Let's take a look at another story presented by this person. Let's just see if you believe it. Let's take a look at some comments. I think it has been. I think what it is. I've seen it, and a lot of good has come from being friends with everyone, putting on everyone's channel and stuff. But what happened is, some people are lying, some people are fucking faking, hoaxing, some people are lying to your face, and like all this buddy friendship stuff. Some people don't like lying, can't tolerate it. Some people actually have professional integrity, and some people have tried to navigate the waters of being friends with everyone because they want to be friends with everyone, which is a good quality trait. But when people are lying to your face, it just doesn't really speak of friendship in a good way. No, I think the only viable people who are strong and not lying will continue to share tactics and strategies and filter through the net of the truth. If the truth kills it, let it die. That's plain and simple. We need a filter to filter out the fantasy and come back to reality, folks, because I think a lot of people are living in fantasy. A lot of people just are not experienced enough, really haven't experienced, they aren't living in Alaska experiencing stuff firsthand and stuff. A lot of people are coming from the city, going out there and just like, everything's Bigfoot, or they hear stories on Dixie Cryptid, gets them all riled up, or the massacre of LBL, which there's no records of, and half the time the stories get mixed up and the fine details get changed around and stuff. But it promotes the subject of Bigfoot as well, so it's it's good, it's accepted, but it's a lie. But all right, so all right, so we're gonna jump into some of this. I gotta download this other video real quick, I guess. Which one was first? I think this was first. All right, so what? Let's take a look at this one.
I remember my grandma always telling me to stay out of one particular holler that had a creek running through it. She always said there was woolly boogers over there and they'd get me. My grandpappy always called them wood boogers, but he always said the same thing. Stay out or they would get me. Since it was one place I was told to stay away from, I just thought Grandpappy must have had a still back there. I said, okay, I won't go there, and I never did. I didn't know until years later that they were talking about Bigfoot.
Does it matter if it's real or not? Right? I mean, I think it matters. Does it matter? Does it not matter? It's entertainment. It's content creation, right? So it's just about banging out some product and having everyone watch it, whether it's real or not, and just making money off of it. And then, you notice that I keep pumping them out. And it's like, oh, what are you in this for? Not the truth, obviously. Not the truth. Because if the truth mattered and integrity was important, you wouldn't be cranking out stories that at least you wouldn't care. You would care, right? You cranked them out. You would care if they were truthful or not. You would try to vet them. You would try to at least not make them up, right? Which I'm sure he has resorted to just making up shit. Chat GPT, write me a story on Bigfoot. 1 second later, you got a story. 2 minutes later, you can have 20 stories. And then you can refine them. And, of course, like Dixie says, he has to rewrite the story anyways so he can read the stories without messing it up. So it gets rewrote up anyways, and fine details that would be important of a real encounter get rearranged. And so it doesn't really matter, though. So if it doesn't really matter and he's not really a researcher and it's just entertainment and stuff, it's not viable information at all. It's just totally just bullshit storytelling. And so should he be labeled as that? I mean, is that where we're going with? Let's take a look at the next storyteller, which we've covered several times because the more I listen to, the more details keep coming out or don't come out, or some more interesting. And the last video we're going to show, Miss Debbie Porch. Now she got married to Larry Porch, but the last video clip that we're going to show of her is a pretty bold story, and one that should be pretty easy to actually prove with witnesses and stuff. So one that I would hopefully be eager to hear from other witnesses who share the same experience as her. So let's just take a look at some more stories and stuff.
So Shelly's sitting there. We're up in camp, and where we're sitting, we could see out there, in that cove, I guess you could call it. And why are you looking at me?
You crazy.
So she's telling me, that she had found these prints out there, and she's like, I don't really know what they are. They look like they could be human, but they're little. And I said, prints? I was like, where? And so she points out there to the cove, and I was like, out there? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, let's go look. And so we go out there, and hers were closer in, like the video of yours that I saw, at least the one that you were talking about, it looked like it was further out, closer to the river.
Yeah.
And the ones that she initially found first, the smaller ones, which we all thought were juvies, they were all up closer to where it kind of curves around and you can walk around on the land.
Okay.
Larry's wanting to say something. I can hear him.
She
Great.
said we all thought they were juvies, but she's wrong.
Oh.
They thought they could have been juvies, and I thought it was a little redneck child that went out there and ran around barefooted, so I didn't bother going to look at them. Now carry on.
Now,
okay.
We're gonna get into this. I think they're talking about the 30 people there, the track line that they all found. The Saudis, they all took casted tracks of and stuff. Very interesting. They just found them and popped up, and with all 30 people there and stuff like that. And, of course, they got some audio. Sounds like coyotes and stuff. But what I find interesting in this one, what I brought up several times, is Larry Port's really not doing anything or going anywhere or doing any much. Go camping, you expect to go out Bigfoot researching, and what you do, you sit at camp and don't do anything. And I can't find the clip of Larry saying, well, I wait till everyone's asleep, and then I'd go by myself and go do my research and have my own experience, or whatever the fuck happens. You just drove 500 miles, you just spent however much money to come research with me, and I choose to wait till you're asleep and to go research by myself. I personally think that's a jackass fucking move to waste people's time and experience, even though I'm sure they had fun and stuff, but to be at a research thing and look at Larry and wait for him to go out there and he doesn't do nothing, and then finally you hear in an interview he says, well, I just wait till everyone's asleep and then I go out. That I would feel a particular way about wasting my time, resources, going to this research area, getting all hyped about going out. Doing shit, and you don't do shit. But it doesn't really matter because could have done that any other time, any other weekend, any other spot. Nah, that's funny. That is lovely. That's cute. No, I just think it's funny that people are doing this to other people, then wasting people. This big game about research and stuff, and then all of a sudden I think I'm cutting in and out a little bit. Let's get to the part of the real shenanigans and fibbing and okay, come on now. I mean, maybe your opinion. You guys watch it. Let's get your opinions on it, right?
y'all,
The first day, all they saw was the small tracks, and they kept trying to get me to go out there and look at them, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to look at that.
yeah.
And then the second day is when Patrick Noble and Shelley Reed, they basically went out looking for rocks along the bank area and were walking around the edge. And I don't remember who first saw one of the bigger tracks. I don't know if it was Shelley or Patrick, but anyway, they found, what was it? 5 or 6 of the bigger tracks.
There were more than 5 or 6, but less
castable that were 5 or 6.
I'd say less than 10 total.
Yeah.
But they were way, on the other side where there's not any place for anybody to park or drive in or anything. It's just, it goes up a hill over there. And she came back over there to me, and that's when she was telling us what they had just found. And then we all went over there, and we were like,
no, we didn't.
Well, he probably didn't.
I still didn't go over there.
It was too far of a walk, probably.
Well,
I was looking for somebody up in the woods with a video camera that had faked us or something.
Right.
And then they come back, and there were several of them said, Larry, you need to go look at this. You need to go look at it. Well, I went over there and looked at it, and I was like, that's either the clearest Bigfoot track I've ever seen, or somebody's messing with us. One of them.
Sounds like real research, guys. Good thing other people were there to actually research. Yeah, I mean, I feel a personal way that people who present themselves who have a big following and promote a big old camp out and stuff, and then we're gonna go do this and go learn about stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, you heard from himself. First day, no. Second day, nah. Took a whole crowd, basically lifted him off his ass to get up and go do anything. And stuff. Because I personally thought that it was a nice touch. And I mean, you can look at Larry's teeth. He obviously ain't messing around. So, like, what? What's the issue? If he looked like he was messing around and stuff, and would you defend him if he was messing around? If he was, what is that okay? He's out there researching and having experience and stuff. Well, I'm just saying, if he's having experiences and he is messing around, should we tolerate that? I mean, clearly he's not. It's a joke. He has all his teeth and stuff. He doesn't look like a meth head. So crystal clear. The other slogans were already up there, and I seen that. So I thought it was a nice touch. You could say it's being immature and stuff, but it's okay. It's whatever. It's having fun. I'm only showing what he says. I mean, right from the donkey's ass. I mean, honestly, if you want to go out and spend your money and drive however many hundreds of miles across country to go spend time and go basically sit on your ass and talk and tell stories, then by all means, go ahead. You can do that on here. You can do that on a phone call. You can do that on a StreamYard. You can not waste people's time. You could not do that. Hey, this is about Bigfoot research and stuff, It's about truth or fantasy, How much truth is there? Doesn't want to go and check anything when people are telling them, hey, go check out this. How much truth, how much reliability, how much integrity is in that research when you've given up, you don't want to do anything, whatever excuse, whatever, right? Pointing for other people. Good thing they don't really charge money, right? They don't charge money. They ask for money. They beg for donations, right? They don't charge for money, because if they did charge for money and that's what happened, God, what a waste. But there are people there are people who do charge for money and play this little fantasy game and mostly sit at camp. We'll take you to Praise Skill 101. I've been there, done that with Mark. No, thank you. No, thank you. There's a time and place for that, and it's definitely not on a expedition research outing. It's definitely that's not the time. It's not the time, Everyone has their own way of doing research and stuff, but when we're talking about a very professional setting and trying to get some shit done, and this is like Bigfoot Prey Scale 101 is not okay. Yes and no. I think Kerry was his own person and made his own judgment on people based on his own experiences and stuff, not what other people told or not what other people said about whatever else someone said, blah, blah, blah. His own experiences. I can say that firsthand because a lot of people were saying some blah, blah, blah to him over me, and he didn't give a fuck. And he told me straight one-on-one. So I think it was a lot. I think that too much of this tolerating fantasy is going to become a problem for everyone. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter how much time it takes. People who are lying to your face and making up hoaxes and storytelling, whether or not they're your friends or not, it's going to come down to the truth versus reality. You're going to come down to like you're going to hear a lie or hear something come out of them that you just absolutely going to turn your head, and you'll know like this. Okay, this. And if you want to accept lies to your face over and over and over again while they're saying I'm your friend, then go ahead and see what road that leads you down. It might lead you down a good friendship road, but nothing else happens. Nothing bad ever happens. Typically, I don't think good friendships are built on lies. I don't think good professional research is built on lies. I don't think that anything built on lies can stand the test of time. So, and I think that's why we see a lot of these people flake out. A lot of these people, Mr. Patrick Vaughn doesn't talk, doesn't give his interviews and stuff. Doesn't want to get called out, doesn't want to get talked about because it's all bullshit. Never said that. I don't know why you would assume that, but that is okay. I think everyone's going to experience it on their own. I'm just telling it how it is. But I think each and every one individual is going to experience that with a lot of different people, a lot of different groups, a lot of different channels, a lot of different whatever. And if you're about the research and the integrity of it, the truth, the professionalism, not storytelling, not content creation, not my getting a bigger friends group, right? Then you need to objectively look at stuff, look at people, and wade through the bullshit so you can find the truth. If it matters. If it doesn't matter, then let's just have at it. Wild, Wild West, anything goes. Bigfoot come out of UFOs. We don't need evidence. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Doesn't matter. There's no standards. There's nothing. Nothing can be standardized. Nothing can be looked at and processed because feelings matter. My political friendship with this group matters more than the political friendship of the truth or this group or whatever, It's like, well, okay, I guess we're just going to muddy the water with bullshit because no one wants to care about the truth and scientifically walk the line of not giving a fuck about bullshit, hoaxing, storytellers, and people are lying to your face, even though they're nice, even though they're friendly, even though they'll give the shirt off their back to you on a rainy fucking day. Unfortunately, if we're going to come to the scientific standard or try amateur scientific standard, right? We're amateur scientists, right? Wannabes. Unfortunately, we have to not let feelings get in the way, not let friendships get in the way, but objectively look at the truth. If people can't handle the truth, people can't survive the truth, stories can't survive the truth, evidence can't survive the truth, then let it die. Because it's not going to survive any professional inquiry. You think scientists are going to come in here and start engaging with, I don't know, who you go pick your woo person or whoever watch. Any of these people you think I'm, bullying or whatever. And Cryptid Hunters and stuff, she's out there remote viewing whatever the heck you want. I'll tell you it's truth or not. Sunny Vader video, Sunny Vader, known hoaxer, posts nothing but hoaxing of the same Bigfoot suit. But, you magically have a person who can, go into the warp zone and I can remote view all the facts and details and I see stuff. And she even says she has, things talking to her and stuff like that. But magically it's real and believable. You think some scientist person is going to care about her feelings, or are they objectively going to try to put her to the test, dissect it, definitely put her to the test if she wants to? Or do you think they're going to dissect the reality of the situation, or reality of all these stories, reality of the person and stuff like that? Come on. Do we let scientists live in fantasy land and spread falsehood and false reality because their feelings matter? Or are they objectively scrutinized and dismantled if necessary? And you blow the dust off because it was full of fantasy, of nothingness, of no scientific value, of nothing. Like, pick your side, people, because it's going to come down the next couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, 60 years. I think it's going to be a big influence in the choices that people, maybe, I think it would explain a lot of things, a lot of reason why people would lie and tell fantasy stories to a community to be embraced by a community when they don't have any. I think it's mostly what's happening with a lot of people. They have whatever their life, and then they may come here. This is a different life, and they have different friends, and they have a community, and a lot of the time, I think they get into it by lying and telling stories, and then, now you built up all these friendships, and you kind of have to continue to lie, even though maybe they don't want to, and they're stuck fumbling this thing that they don't want to. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole host of people with a lot of different things going on, not just one thing. This is a pretty wide spectrum. It's a pretty complicated subject. You can't really just, pin it down to one certain thing. People are individuals with thousands of different thoughts and hundreds of different thoughts each and every day that make them who they are. So there's thousands and thousands of different reasons why people are basically telling stories or lying to your face, for many different reasons. Some are very innocent, and some are very trauma filled and stuff. But at the same time, it's a lie. It's a story. It's not to be taken seriously scientifically. So let's jump into the last clip of these two researchers, and let's see if this is plausible. Let's see if this is real. I'm sure we can find information. If it is, it's not going to be too hard to look up, right? Or is it?
Get together with other Bigfooters, and some friends of ours had rented out. It was just a little building, and it was there was probably 30, 40 of us there. So we were camping in all different areas, and this little building was I guess where they went to have picnics and stuff. I don't know, but they had rented that out and actually had a forestry ranger come that worked for the forestry service there, came in there and spoke. And he was originally from Pennsylvania. But anyway, he told us about his sighting. And
Oh,
he
really?
said, yeah, he went around and took up recorders. He said, I know y'all got recorders. Well, I had hid mine between my legs. So
You couldn't have a recorder?
yeah, he was taking up everybody's recorders because he said, I can get fired for talking about it.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I have my recorder and I had recording. But anyway.
Rebel.
Yeah. What can I say? That's how you learn stuff and get stuff.
That's right.
But
we might have to play that again. Let's just listen to what she said, and let's go through it. Let's play it again, right? Where's that comment? Yes, you yourself have said that you believe remote viewing to be real, could be real. That's what I said. Just because something has some truth, does it not make it good? Or wait, no, this is the one. Just because something is real does not make it a good fact. What I believe is that the sea squatters actually remote viewed something that I've put to the test that had some very interesting results. Now, what I personally think is it needs more testing to confirm that that particular person has some interesting abilities. Not every random person who says they can remote view or have these things can do that. But if you can and are willing to and want to put yourself up to the test and remote view something for me and stuff, then we can go do that. And I will objectively say that, holy shit, guys, this is what happened. If the cryptid hunt just wants to come on and do that, by all means, she can go and do that. I don't think she's going to. Jen from the She Squatchers is definitely willing to and would. I've already asked her before and stuff, so all I have to do is ask her again. And the people, if the truth kills it, let it die. And the people who can survive the truth, survive it. And they get a little bit more recognition for doing so. All right, so let's play that clip again. Let's listen to the part where she says the forest ranger, right? Forest ranger. What did he do? And what happened? Of course, the classic excuse of why this was not recorded. But how many witnesses were there? Can they verify the story? Are they willing to verify the story? Is she able to provide any names for us to reach out to verify this story right here, which I'm sure is can be very easily verified with witnesses to collaborate the story, right?
Get together with other Bigfooters. And some friends of ours had rented out. It was just a little building, and it was there was probably 30, 40 of us there. So we were camping in all different areas, and this little building was I guess where they went to have picnics and stuff. I don't know, but they had rented that out and actually had a forestry ranger come that worked for the forestry service there, came in there and spoke. And he was originally from Pennsylvania. But anyway, he told us about his sighting. And
Oh,
he
really?
said, yeah, he went around and took up recorders. He said, I know y'all got recorders. Well, I had hid mine between my legs. So
You couldn't have recorders?
yeah, he was taking up everybody's recorders because he said, I can get fired for talking about it.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I have my recorder and I had recording. But anyway.
Rebel.
Yeah. What can I say? That's how you learn stuff and get stuff.
That's right.
But
So can this be verified, since there's like 30 other Bigfoot researchers or whoever people there that can say that this guy walked around the room and and told everyone to give them their audio recorders or their GoPros or whatever? Seriously? And people complied? Some man walks over to you and says, give me your audio recorder, and you give it to him? That sounds fishy to me. It sounds that's a lot different than saying, please don't record me while I give this speech. I might be fired. Big difference between saying that and claiming this dude walked around and collecting private property of civilians with no authority to do so. I would definitely like to hear other witnesses claim the same as her. Definitely would like to hear that. I definitely would like to hear that from other people. Yeah, 100%. 100% would probably believe it a little bit more. You know, the graphics and stuff was just a cute little thing to put on there because it's my opinion that's a bold-faced lie. In my opinion, as Larry kind of turns to her, I mean, you go look up body language all you want. I think most people's opinion would be that some fishy shit shenanigans going on there. And why? Why even say that? Why mention that? Why? And then you know, she hid her recorder in between your legs. Yeah, he was illegally confiscating audio recorders. What if you said no? Was he going to confiscate it? What if you refused? Was he going to throw you in jail? Yeah, a forestry ranger threw me in jail because I refused to give him a audio device when he was going to talk about Bigfoot. What kind of charge is that? That's one I would take. I'll take that. Hey, is it? I mean, it's your opinion. Is it believable or is it not? Is it? I mean, did this happen or not? You want to watch it again? You watch her face. You watch his face. You think it's bullshit or not? You think she's telling the truth? She's been caught fabricating Kayla Ott's audio, claiming that it's her, claiming that she's the voice in the video, in the audio. No, it's not. So did a forestry ranger come up to everyone and before the presentation and what? We play it again. She said confiscate. Walked around. That's a lot different than saying, please don't record me. Let's play it again. It's my opinion. It's what I'm observing with my experience of what I've experienced in the Bigfoot community and what I've experienced personally. And I think, look at my previous comment. We'll play it up here again. I think it's very telling. And if you have the choice to care more about the fantasy or the truth. So if she's lying about this little part that doesn't need to be lied about, oh, well, everything else she's telling is okay. It's just the truth. She's a nice person. She's my friend. she might be fibbing here a little bit, but she's still my friend. Okay, that's fine. How much of a lie is it? Is it really a lie that doesn't really matter? All lies are not the same. Does it? It's just Bigfoot. Just Bigfoot. Just a part she might not have to lie about, but she would lie about. Why wouldn't she lie about other parts that are more important? Let's play it again.
Get together with other Bigfoots.
Let's just take a look.
Some friends of ours had
Look at
rented
her.
out.
Listen.
It was just a little building, and it was there was probably 30, 40 of us there. So we were camping in all different areas, and this little building was I guess where they went to have picnics and stuff. I don't know, but they had rented that out and actually had a forestry ranger come that worked for the forestry service there, came in there and spoke. And he was originally from Pennsylvania. But anyway, he told us about his sighting. And
Oh,
he
really?
said, yeah, he went around and took up recorders. He said, I know y'all got recorders. Well, I had hid mine between my legs. So
You couldn't have a recorder?
yeah, he was taking up everybody's recorders because he said, I can get fired for talking about it.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I have my recorder and I had recording. But anyway.
Rebel.
Yeah. What can I say? That's how you learn stuff and get stuff.
That's right.
But
very believable story, in my opinion. Maybe your opinion is different. Comprehension is a skill. Yes, definitely so. Can't you comprehend that maybe someone's telling bullshit to you? And one of my personal opinions about Debbie is that when she lies and stuff, she'll look back to another person to get confirmation. Try to a glancing look. And this is, it is hilarious, I think, Iron Dogger. I mean, it's hilarious that you're making these comments and, I don't think no matter what I have shown today, I don't think your opinion would have swayed on any particular matter, but which is fine. Her telling tell sign that I personally think is a tell that Debbie's lying is she will, when she's presenting with other people and she's in a lie and she's telling something, she will look back at someone else and try to get a confirmation from them or an acknowledgement or try to whatever this is. I'm not a facial expression, micro expression expert. I'm not certified in it. I don't know the correct term, but from the research I've done and stuff, it is a typical sign of reassurance of the lie. Even though it is a lie, you're looking for someone else for a reassurance and stuff. You're convincing them. You look away from the crowd. You look away from the person to someone else that you're friendly with or you're with. And these comments are nice, but I think it's one of her tell signs. I personally think it is because when she's presenting the hoax audio, which we can play here, I'll play the video. I still have it up where she claims that's her. She looks at her fellow sister for this same acknowledgement, this same reassurance is what it is. And I'll play it right now if necessary. I just think I look at all your comments, Iron Dogger, which I respect because of your background and what you've done and you personally have done. You've done, and you are in a more adventurous spot than most researchers. You've done more than most researchers and stuff, and probably could kick a lot of people's asses compared to a lot of these, people who want to go out there and present themselves as something that they're not and stuff. So I do give you a lot of respect and stuff in that sense and stuff. You have your own opinion. I disagree with it on this, in Miss Debbie, on this subject. But I will give you credit and stuff because you definitely have put in more work than a lot of researchers have ever done or will ever do. But yet, they want to grift for money and they want to present themselves as more than what they really are, which is a sack of potatoes that really don't go anywhere and do anything and grow off the couch. And that's about it. You know, I respect and value and want to see more people get off their ass and go do stuff, go do something, and not do that. You know, thinking and thinking and thinking. You think all you want, it's not going to go anywhere because you're not putting your foot down to do anything. So go ahead, think all you want. Think about everything. Think and talk and have phone conversations and plan and do this. It doesn't really matter till you get your ass out there, set up camp, and fucking do something. If all you do is sit at camp and then continue to talk and strategize and plan, and why didn't you just do that why didn't you continue to do that on the phone? Why did, you know, if you're not going to do anything, why go? Why do? You're not doing anything. That's the problem. That's what the problem is. No one's doing anything. It's like, you know, documentaries and stuff, which Iron Dogger brought up as being, you know, less than factual most of the time. It's yes, because it's a storyboard narration of this is how, you know, the direction of the story, and we're putting things together to move the story along. That's why, you know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter when this was filmed and which order, you know, because if it kind of makes the story better this way, then some people will just put this event happened at day 1 or day 2, even though it happened the last day, because it's just better fitting the documentary with the story and stuff. So yes. So my personal opinion of Debbie is when she lies, and specifically, occasionally, most of the time she'll glance over to someone for reassurance and stuff. And I'm not the expert who knows the expert terminology when talking about that, but I do know that with my basic common ass knowledge, that is one potential tell sign among all this other smirking and stuff that she's all done, and all these other videos I've shown of her doing all this, of fabrication, of lies and stuff. And if she's your friend and she's very nice and all this, well, that's cool, but it doesn't take from the fact that she's lying or potentially lying to your face. And, you know, you guys have your own choices on whether you value or how much meaning that means to you. If you value that, if you don't like that, if you tolerate that, if you want to build a friendship on that or whatever. But I think this is going to affect us in the long run because, well, it's simple. I mean, deceit and lies, a foundation built on that cannot stand. It's full of cracks. It's full of impurity. It's full of imperfection. It's not sustainable in the long run. And that's why you always have to flip-flop your lies and you have to juggle, and like it's not sustainable in the long run. Like, isn't that common knowledge? This is not sustainable in the long run. This content creation of storytelling, I got it in from your email. It's good right now, but when people want to really get away from the fantasy, the storytelling, and really want to get into the reality of things, then we'll have a change. Then we'll actually get somewhere when people want to get off their ass and go do something and really organize stuff and not expect to just sit at camp and tell stories about other expeditions you went on and had all this amazing stuff happen. So got this other one. We'll pull this up right here, Miss Debbie Jones at the time. Going to be telling about her hoaxed audio that is not hers. And she even says, "Oh, that's me saying it." She turns to her sister and says, "That's me saying it," to the other sister. Can't remember her name right now. All right, so this was when she presented her stolen audio in 2017, actually, and the first few conferences that she presented. And then, of course, she had to redo all of her audio, and so she
having an adrenaline rush. We continued on while we were sitting there at camp. There were howls, whoops, screams. We continued hearing moans, but the moans began turning more into growls, low growls. all night long while we were sitting outside. We have, DW, we have another one on there that says Good House. I'm so creative with my titles. I was asking Carrie if she could hear it.
All right, now that's Kayla Ott's audio, and that's Kayla with her dog. I don't think there was a dog with Debbie and her sister at the time, was there? Don't think so. There was a dog in the audio clip, and it's Kayla saying that. So when Debbie lies and turns to convince the other sister who is not there, the person who's with Debbie is not there at the conference she's presenting with, that's a reassurance glance. That's that reassurance. And she says that's her. That's not her. Now she said, came out, and a couple episodes ago, we presented all this evidence of Debbie saying that it was from Henry, or the one sister that she got kicked out, Henry or Carrie, or one of them. She kicked her out of the group and stuff eventually and supposedly during that conference, Mark Newbill, helped set up audio and presentation somehow on the ex-sister's computer. And it was because of the ex-sister's computer already had this Kayla file, and it got mixed in, and then they just, they didn't have the brains to understand what they experienced and what was actually caught, and compared to someone else's totally different experience in audio. So they fumbled that up. But then after this, or after next two conferences, Debbie tried to get everything off of her recorder and then she had her computer fiasco. It couldn't save all of it, and she only could save a little bit. So all of the audio that was on her audio device was then uploaded and saved, and then she started presenting her audio, which still contained Kayla's audio as her own, which doesn't make sense to blame it on the other sister and the computer and stuff, because it doesn't magically jump from devices to devices and continue on as in your presentations without you realizing that, well, Debbie, in my opinion, is the one who created it and did it, and she's the only one who talked about it most. Debbie is the only one who talked about it, presenting all the audio every single time in most all the presentations and interviews given. So, of course, the only other person who was there is the person who gets kicked out, and she, of course, has issues with, and I think there's two of them that get kicked out, actually. But conveniently are the two that collaborate most of the stuff. And it's just that I don't believe it. And I think I've showed evidence here that it's not real, and that she's faked audio. She got caught on Bigfoot Odyssey. It only was an issue when it was played on Bigfoot Odyssey. Then it was like, oh, it was an accident. And she blamed the other sister they kicked out. But if the Kayla audio was made up in a presentation for you to use at one or two presentations, and then since she didn't have her computer and stuff, she had her own audio device that had all the original stuff still that she then downloaded separately with no one else's computer but her own. How did she she got called out at Fest, I think it's or Footstock or Beachfoot or something like that. I don't think I have that video. But as the Sierra sound swoops, and her excuse of that is, well, they sound the same. We weren't playing the full clip. I showed the full clip. She goes from those sounds and then goes to a completely different audio. There is no full clip. So, and we've showed the post where Debbie's defending herself, and we go through that and we show that it's very deceitful, in my opinion. Leave it up to you, but I think I give a pretty clear picture that it's very deceitful and lying and stuff. So this person has built everything on lies and it's fake audio. And the only reason why Ron Moorhead stuff isn't a big deal is because she said she sent it to Ron Moorhead with some other stuff, and he was interested in the other stuff, and no big deal with the mix up or whatever. And who cares, right? Just because, politics and friendship and doesn't want to cause drama or doesn't want to be objectively truthful, like this is my audio and stuff like that. It's, it comes into question some things, but I think that's what politics are. When you have a nice phone call conversation with someone, what influence your decision to call them out as, they kind of hoax my audio and stuff, but they got some other stuff I find interesting. But if most of the over 50% of the audio that she came out with the original story has been deduced as being faked, and the remaining survival stuff is, well, now it's real. It is real because we've sent it off to these buddies of Ron. I mean, and if she's getting caught in lies over and over again like this, a forestry ranger went around, confiscated, took all the audio devices. There's 30 witnesses that could verify that? Because she named names. Bigfoot researcher is a Bigfoot thing, right? Did the guy ask not to be recorded, or did he go around confiscating stuff? That's an embellishment. Isn't that a lie? Isn't, my opinion, Larry looks at her like, why lie? Why lie about something that doesn't matter? If she's lying about this, doesn't that kind of make you guys suspect that she could be lying about bigger things that really matter? Like, this story doesn't matter. This details matter. But when you're telling a story and such things that truthfully happen, a forestry ranger that walks up to you at some public event, public campground, and demands to confiscate your stuff. 30 people. In the day and age of cell phones, people whip them out and start filming so fast and say, "What'd you say, officer?" That question? Or that statement, you want us to do what? You were going to talk about Bigfoot, and now you're going to do what? First of all, you can't legally confiscate anything. Right? So come on now. This is just, did it happen? Did it not happen? I don't think so. That sounds a bullshit, fishy ass story. Like this random forest ranger just confiscated everyone's audio device, and just so happens that Debbie, of course, was able to hide hers. Use it, of course. No. Why go through all the effort of hiding? And she of course is the main action hero, the main star of. She didn't get hers confiscated. I feel like Debbie is like that. She likes to be in the light of things when telling these stories, or being in action, or seeing things that no one else can see and experience. My personal opinion and stuff, but I find it that it's the truest fantasy, and it's these friendships that we build, these politics. It's big old politics we had. And the last time I showed Mark, and we had Mark Newbell call people and say to show up here and cause issues and stuff. Don't you think that's a problem, right? I don't think anyone to show up on their channels and to do anything. I don't ever say that, but I think we have some evidence that shows that the people who can't stand being told that, can't stand the truth, well, they like to go after people. So can you guys see this over here? What does it say? Was that Mark Newbell? Yes. Haven't been on the book in over a month now. But calling all cars, LOL. Got a phone call from some rinky-dink podcast. Is coming on tonight, calling the Sisters of the Moon hoaxers. Here's the link. if you would want to go in the chat room, is what it says right there. If I had to move around and stuff, go in the chat room, you know. And it's like, oh, well, I mean, if I'm some rinky-dink podcast, why is it so important to show up on Facebook in over a month and call everyone and give the link and flood my rinky-dink podcast? If I didn't matter, if it didn't really matter, if they weren't really lying about things, right? I don't think I've told anyone to go to his channel and do this. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, and these people and want to say comments and stuff like that, and that seems very two-faced to me. But it doesn't really matter, because the truth doesn't really matter, right? Funny enough, you know, he sent people to watch, and hopefully they actually question and learn something, or just try. I don't think so, but fortunately, I don't think they were open enough to look at what I was showing and look at the evidence that was being talked about and actually do their own investigation and look at it a little bit differently, right? Look and listen to these stories and maybe look at it differently, more skeptically, and make your own assumptions or you know, choose whether or not you believe these people are or not. I think a lot of people are just bullshit, and I think some people should be called out. I think these channels that are content creation and more or less just doesn't really matter. We're all family, you know. We stick together. My tribe versus your tribe, you know. Isn't it about Bigfoot research and the objective evidence and proving Sasquatch, or is it about podcasting, subscribers, you know, friendship in the family, and you know, and it doesn't matter if one of our tribe's members is hoaxing and lying to everyone else's face while being two-faced because they're lying to you and being friendly, and then now cry about feelings being hurt and being called out. But then, you know, when someone has actually influence in a, you know, right? People says something, you know, a lot of people are gonna get notifications and look and watch and listen and kind of do what he says. With some rinky-dink channel that doesn't matter, doesn't have any influence. If there's nothing to break, nothing to topple down, why does it matter? Does a bear care about a single ant? I mean, if you're got nothing to worry about, why send all the people into someone else rinky-dinks to what, cause issue? I mean, because it's going to cause issues. He's not saying it, but like, come on now. Obviously, it's implied. Obviously, that's the meaning of it. Come on now. Got to protect the Sisters of the Moon, not objectively look at the particular person is calling her a hoaxer. Not look at the evidence. No, we just, you know. I don't. And of course, some of the comments in my own chat was our leader sent me here and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, it sounds like it because you just won't objectively listen to any other reasoning besides what your leader tells you and whatever story he concocts or whatever evidence they show. I mean, that kind of tells me everything I need to know with comments like that and no objective reasoning, no objective observations. It's just like, he's good, bro. You know, you just got to take it slowly. You got to go out in the woods. You got to do a thing. We're going to sit at camp. We're going to cook our food. And then we're just going to stay at camp. And day 1 passes. Come on, Larry. Day 2 passes. Come on, Larry. We got to do something. Everyone's not sleeping. Yeah, I can't move. Not time. And so you asked me earlier, Iron Doggery is not nice to mules and stuff. I don't think it's nice to send all your wannabe cult members and lab dogs to a rinky-dink channel to cause issues. But so if I make fun of his voice a little bit, oh well, and stuff, So, hopefully this shows the kind of people, these supposedly these people, and, Mark talks about, being friendly, having a family and a community, about drama, not causing issues and stuff. Just let it wash over you. I don't think that washed over him too well. I don't think he turned the other cheek for some reason. He didn't take his own advice. I mean, if you want to learn Bigfoot 101, by all means. If you want to actually do something, but there's a lot of, this storytelling, this bullshit, this non-research, fake reality research, wannabe researcher, content creator is bullshit. And, it's whatever. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Why doesn't matter? Stories doesn't matter. The truth versus fantasy. What if it's true? What if it's not true?
Hey, I got this email recently. This is one of those emails that's really kind of profound. I didn't know whether to believe this or not, and it really doesn't matter. I'd probably do the story anyway, but I kind of had a back and forth with this.
It really doesn't matter. I'd probably do the story anyways. It really doesn't matter. I found some tracks. It really doesn't matter if I check to see what they really are, where they go and stuff. They just look cool. I'm going to post them and call it Bigfoot. That's my research. It does matter. If we want this subject to matter, then yes, it does matter. All of this matters. It's not drama. It's not bullying. It's the truth versus fantasy. And it does matter. It damn well does matter. If you want this subject to be taken seriously, if you're a researcher who does this seriously, wants to be taken seriously, wants to get out of this bullshit, then it does matter. It doesn't matter to those who really don't care about the objective truth of the subject, who don't want to really prove the subject, who don't want to advance the subject. It doesn't matter. I'm making friends. I'm doing entertainment, storytelling. Whatever reason. That's fine. Maybe it's a hobby. You can have the excuse. Well, it's just Bigfoot. It's just Bigfoot. Yep. Okay, well, other people are a little bit more passionate about it and care and want to have the subject be somewhere else, not in the same place in the next 60 years, right? Where the Patterson is the best film and everyone has all these stories, Stories lovely, talking's great, strategizing, all this, and sitting on your ass not doing nothing. Yeah, it's nice. Going out there, doing more than just setting up camp, doing more than just, having excuses. Oh, it's too cold out, I'm tired. Guess what? If a host of a camp out decides not to fucking do anything and sit at camp for 1 day, 2 days, and you're begging them to go look at prints and stuff, and they're just like, it's a waste of time, waste of energy, waste of resources, kind of big F you. That's not professionalism. That's not, that's not anything but living in a fantasy land. I think anywhere else further along, we need to cut the fat off. We need to slim down and cut the toxic crap, which is the false reality, in my opinion, which is eroding around, which is more of an issue than actual people being toxic to each other and can't get along and stuff. Well, it's hard to get along with to your face. It's hard to get along with people who are grifting for money and presenting hoaxes, lying about it, and then getting equipment and never using it, and all this bullshit that we've seen from lots of different people. Vault Keeper for one, Rick Dyer and stuff. All these hoaxes and money, and all the way down to well, I need money for equipment and stuff, and it just and well, there's some bunch of excuses. Well, they ended up like casting them and stuff eventually, because he actually did get off his butt and go look, and the bigger tracks, they actually did cast them. I think that's the same trip where there was, I don't know, I'm not sure what trip this was and stuff particularly, but I know they found a trackway that did cast. I think it's the same trip that the Sawdust Beast presented as they're on the trackway and stuff. And I do have some pictures not ready to be loaded up, of course, because there was only a couple tracks that were good and stuff. But I find it fishy when you have a group of 30-something people there. You have a couple of hoaxers there, maybe potentially definitely a couple hoaxer. Maybe Mark and Larry are actually in on this and stuff, and I think that's why it's so important to cover for people. Some other people that I'm looking at who don't really have much to really look at potentially have hoaxed some audio and stuff, and it's just weird when gets a audio recording and then gives it to Mark, and then Mark makes a single post about it, and then that person never comments on it and doesn't talk about it, never posts about it, never gives an interview about, well, that I've seen so far. Doesn't, just one single vague little post of tagging this guy. Oh yeah, this guy found this, and then all of a sudden, he joins in and gets a little stardom, and that particular piece of evidence is never gone through, talked about, never referenced by the person who actually found it, never actually talked about and stuff. It's some red flags in my opinion. It's a little weird and stuff, but there's not much information to go out on those people. But that person was there finding these tracks too and stuff. So there's some red flags. He also posted some potential two prints finding on the edge of a bank creek that I think is very fishy and odd. Again, it's very vague posting, just one and done type of thing. And it's my opinion. I can't really. That particular person is there, so very doubtful on the whole evidence that they find. But I'm very doubtful from people who spin lies and webs and try to cover and So I think we need to trim the fat. If we are the sculptor of our community and of the research and where we're taking it, then we need to sculpt away the blocks and mold ourselves into what we want to be. And it's not fantasy driven. It's not the fantasy side. It's not stories. It doesn't matter if they're real or not. It's not that. That's not the side we want to be on. That's not going to go anywhere. Definitely not what I signed up for. Definitely not what the original Four Horsemen signed up for or wanted or advocated or did. None of them told bullshit stories. Well, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. I'm going to tell this Bigfoot story. No, it fucking mattered. It mattered most importantly. Above all else was their integrity too. Do the research truthfully. They might not have all agreed on what everyone else thought of and everything like that, but they were bona fide professionals when it came to having their own integrity about shit, And now what do we have? Well, it doesn't really matter. It's a good story. He's a good friend. Some politics I don't really want to get into because it's a big mess, and these are good. These are going to be conflicts that aren't going to go away just because you choose not to say anything, just because you choose not to stand up, just because you choose to not get involved. I mean, you're still going to deal with whatever happens. You're still going to deal with it in the long run. It might be worse. It might be easier to deal with. It might be worse to deal with. I just think we need to look at people and what they. That's why I like having, if we're going to do interviews and stuff, you have the person on so you can look at them, you can see what they say, you can see how they react. Because we've had examples of people going on shows and crying about their Bigfoot encounter, and then later on, of course, it's a hoax, and they scatter to the winds. We've had people I've showed on here who on purpose to hoax this Bigfoot narrative. People go to some pretty extreme lengths and stuff for whatever reasons and stuff, and it needs to be called out, needs to be dealt with, because we don't want these Looney Tune people who are telling stories to influence the community and take away from the actual ground that we will gain by moving the ball down the field and stuff. This is the total opposite of real scientific research. Is fantasy. It doesn't matter. It's just any group of scientists, archaeologists, any biologists, I can't even talk, say anything, right? Zoologists, any scientific research done. You go up into this little part it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's in there with everything else. It doesn't matter if the final outcome. It doesn't matter. Everything matters. Every little detail matters in real scientific research in any real arena. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't deal with Bigfoot. Well, that's why it's a joke, right? This is why people think it's a joke. Bigfoot's, laughable in itself, and you want to start adding all these other cryptids and everything. Okay. Doesn't matter. Does it matter? The details, storytelling, lies, or the truth matter? Does it matter? If you say to ask any other scientific person anywhere doing research on anything, you could say, one detail doesn't matter. That one little tiny detail really doesn't matter. It can be false. It can be made up. We have gone backwards if we're saying that it doesn't matter. What are we trying to be? What are we doing here, guys? Come on. Most of us try to be amateur scientists and try to be able to even get recognized, to even get looked at. Some real scientists who actually have been studied and gone to schools for last 20 years of teaching and all this, and to actually look and come out with us and do basically the eras, and they do the research and where they're big guides and stuff. It's not this. Come on now, if we want to be recognized and have any chance of real collaboration into this or taken seriously, or if Bigfoot is discovered, for us to still be taken seriously, utilized, the truth matters. It matters. Fantasy versus reality definitely matters. Having scientific, unbiased evidence and research and review to deduce if it's bullshit or not, it fucking matters. So, where are we going in our community? Where are we going in our own research and everyone else's stuff? What are we doing, guys? Come on. You guys might think I'm mean, I'm bullying, it's whatever. But in the long run, these are all the things that we're going to have to face if we're going to be taken seriously, if we're going to go to the next level, if we want to find anything better that can actually survive the strict filter of scientific review that the Patterson film has actually gone through and survived. That's why it is pretty much still the top of the evidence, because of it has survived so much scrutiny over the years, and it is so old. And if the truth stands, then it will stand. If the truth kills it, then let it die. And that's how it works. That's kind of why the Patterson film is still here. It's survived. In my opinion, that's why it reads so much credibility. And if you're too afraid to stand up to the truth measurement, then, you're going to fall over and die. So it matters to me. That's why we did this presentation, this show. That's why that's the subject. It does matter. But, and you guys individually, as channels, as researchers who put out stuff on your channel, to have the integrity to keep that line straight and narrow of truth versus fantasy, of what I show my viewers, how much of it is bullshit, shit I'm making up, shit I can just splice together and it's content, versus the reality of this is what actually happened, this is what we actually found, this is what we heard, this is not the story that I made up, this is not the story of bullshit, this is reality, guys. And it's easier to become a content creator. It's a lot easier to go down that road, to make up whatever clips of fantasies. You take pictures of bushes, you just do whatever, you act. Walking that tightrope line of the truth, of reality, of this is the actual shit that's happening, the real encounter, the real shit, the real research. Because real research is going to be hard and stuff, and take time and take some leaps and bounds in between interactions and stuff. And it's like, if you're content creation, that means that there's not much content unless you just make it stuff that nothing happens in. But I mean it, guys, if you want to be in the next level and you're pushing yourself, like I know a lot of people are, you have to stand outside the truth no matter what. And it supersedes politics, it supersedes your friendships, it supersedes what your subscribers are going to think about you. You don't think when people have 20-something thousand subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, that they don't think about, well, I better not say this because, I might lose all these people. And then, oh, fuck, you don't think that that's influencing how they go about this? That can't influence you. You can't influence the findings of the truth, reality. That can't. Because then it's fantasy. You're lying to yourself. You're warping reality to what you want for the audience's reaction that you hopefully want to receive. And people are getting caught up into that content creation. It's not about research and stuff. And then it's politics, and then it's like, I can't do this, because you're a slave to the system. You can't be yourself because you're afraid of what other people will say. Oh my God. Well, then I don't think you're going to stand the test of time, because you're going to always bend over to that, and you can't be yourself. You can't bend the truth. So you stand straight with the truth, or you bend over for fantasy, and you have to bend a lot. So you guys are going to have your own battles, your own opinions, your own situations. And there's a lot of things out there with, I don't even know what's going on and stuff that's come up on my radar, and everyone's picking sides in this. And there are people who are straight up using you to make money, doing all these big show, collabs and stuff. And some of them are big time. Some of them are in between. And it's more or less, you hear about when there's an internal struggle, one of them gets kicked out, that it's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about, because for a lot of these researchers, so a lot of people, sometimes it becomes more about the money and getting this stuff and everything else but the research. It becomes everything else but actual research. It's everything else but the research. So that's, it's just not where I personally would like to see the Bigfoot community, the research that's done, the evidence that has come forth, like amount of dog shit, red circles of bushes that we've got is just so crazy. And people who just believe it, then you can't even talk about it because then you're rude, you get kicked out of these groups, and you're being mean. Well, you're just you're trying to pre-review stuff and trying to deduce whether it's real or not. And doesn't it matter if it's real or not? Don't you want to get better? Don't you want to learn, like, oh, I took a picture of this tree and I learned that, oh, sometimes trees in the light and the shadows, and my camera was set on a certain set, and like it can create distortions. Oh man, I learned to set up my camera different way. I learned not to fall for that. I become better in research so I can get the actual real deal stuff and not be tricked or missed, at least learn from the experience if you're willing to learn. If you're not willing to learn, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I guess or whatever, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to learn from it. Where are we at? Where do we want to be? I think with people standing up for the truth and nothing but the truth, then it's going to steer us in the right direction. If we stay silent about things and no one says anything and we just, feelings matter, we're going to get some pretty crazy outcomes. Like, example is, did you know that in some schools now that since some kids can, they can identify as other things than what they want. So kids can identify as a cat or a dog. And now some schools actually have kitty litter boxes in bathrooms where kids could like shit and piss on the kitty litter box because of their feelings. The feelings matter more than objective reality. If you think I'm blind, go ahead and look it up myself. It's going to take a minute, 30 seconds? Pop in on Google. Bam, go like this. Bam, go to Google. Look it up. Do it yourself. I don't want to have to do everything. Go look it up yourself. If feelings matter, and you're certainly seeing that in our country, especially in some of these places where it's like I don't think that feelings matter as much as the truth and as much as common sense and objective reasoning, and like it's wild. And I think you might think it's far crazy example to think that, but you live and you tolerate fantasy land, and fantasy land grows and grows and grows and influences, and there's why we have certain situations in our country and school systems and in our community. So I did see your message here, Randy. I didn't read it or anything because doing the show and stuff, but I'll take a look at it real quick. Well, I'm just saying, hey, we let fantasy and feelings matter more than reality. And we have examples in this in our society, whether people want to talk about it or not. We have examples of this, and we actually have results of this too. And I am going to say that if we allow the fantasy and we tolerate the madness, even though you might not think it's relatable on the same scale and stuff, it's still fantasy. It's still people are lying to themselves and to each other and and tolerating the bullshit. It can get to the Twilight Zone levels of insanity and be tolerated as normal by people. So that's not what I signed up for. That's not what I was inspired. I was certainly never inspired by that, by the Four Horsemen or the John Green, especially, and Ray DeHinden. I would love to have him here and trash not trash people, but just objectively call out. You would probably, be a lot more rougher than me. Call out this madness. Call out the madness. I can't imagine what they would actually all think about and say if they could just, see this madness of fantasy, of the story mattering more than the truth. Oh, this is funny. That's funny. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. And this is what they have. The people that we call out, they can't defend the truth and stuff, and they go to resorting to like having made threats and stuff like we have with Mark Newbell, who sends people to mess up your channel or report your channel or shut your channel down, and instead of just objectively trying to defend the evidence against you, or they'll say, I'm gonna get a lawyer. Bullshitting and stuff. It's like, okay, well, and then if you actually went to court over all this stuff, you still like, okay, then you have to prove like it's like it's so hilarious. Like if that actually happened and stuff, of other these people that I showed evidence of, I would show the same evidence in case to the judge and stuff, and it would still be up to the person to determine if I was actually lying or making up stuff, or objectively looking at them and doing research and a peer review, doing a First Amendment opinion on this, doing a First Amendment protected activity, free press. I'm giving my free press to everyone else. I'm doing a little bit of my own news-related opinion on things and stuff like this. You can take it all the way and have them explaining the damn hoax in court. Wish you could get copies and all this. So people really want to, people want to, do all this instead of what they can't defend the truth. I think we'll see a little things here from there next week and stuff. We'll be calling out, taking a look at Mr. Chris Reinhardt and stuff. I think we'll see some stuff come out hopefully before then. But the truth costs a person subscribers is defamation. See, then this is what it's about. Well, you're costing me subscribers because it's all about content creation and subscribers and monetization. And then, okay, well, you are lying and, it is provable and stuff. Then, I say what I say. If people want to waste their money and try to get me to court to sue, then I guess that's what I can't stop them. Just be prepared to have a court case and a battle, and that's all I gotta say. How do you what do you know? I have never been threatened with that, but I've definitely been threatened with Bigfoot people who come after and I've heard other podcasts and people talk about and some of these bullying and people calling out people are like going after people's families and like interrupting their lives and stuff, and I've had that happen multiple times by calling out people, and they get so fucking pissed off they start trying to like sneak around and cause issues and stuff, and it's very sad. Instead of defending their evidence that they posted for peer review. If you're about research, then it's going to get looked at. It's going to get opinionated. Yes, we're going to look at the Discovery Sasquatch, and Randy was on the show last episode, last Saturday, and talked a little bit about it, and we might see some stuff from them presented. And then we're going to he came on my radar because of, sounded fishy, but then he went to the New Mexico trip with Robert Kreider. And there's some shenanigans right there and just bullshit that really just made it, this guy's full of shit. And then, of course, suspected of lies and just, some people just are full of. Randy has some stories about him hoaxing at the 400 and stuff, so you might see some stuff from them. We'll have another podcast next week, probably have some stuff showcasing him, maybe some other stuff. And, might talk to Robert Kreider, maybe try to get him on, or maybe get some statements from him or something. But he put out Robert Kreider put out some stuff, videos, and talked about these guys stranding them on the mountain and being lazy, not being prepared enough, even though they had like however many months to prepare themselves. And these guys were, I think, Chris Reinhardt took some of these videos down, but they were pumping videos out of strategy, of planning, of gun ho, fuck yeah, now, yeah, blah blah blah, revving up, getting pumped up. And then when it's time to go and actually do the work, it's bullshit. It is like it's like back to preschool, Bigfoot 101. When it's supposed to be a little bit more professional, big leagues kind of event, like you're in a mountain, it's actually, pretty extreme environment. It's a little bit different than Florida, a little bit different than Alaska, a little bit different than Michigan. It's pretty extreme for its own environment and stuff. Shenanigans and bullshit and laziness, and then leaving other people to be stranded on a mountain and not telling other people. And that's definitely raises some questions and some red flags of the integrity of a person who does that. I don't give a fuck if I don't like you or not. I might, I might end up not liking you on a Bigfoot expedition, but I can tell you what, I'm not going to leave your ass stranded on a fucking mountain. I'm not going to leave your ass stranded in a swamp. I'm going to actually make sure, everyone gets out safely. But to leave people stranded or to leave, and I take this seriously. I mean, if I was with other people, and it doesn't even matter if I was leading people or not, as a man, you should have some sense of safety and responsibility to everyone who you're with. If, Chris Reinhardt doesn't seem like he's a capable man, defend himself, and my opinion that maybe he just doesn't think like that. But as a man who's capable, who's able to and protect other people and has that drive mentality, you make sure that people get out of dangerous situations, even if you don't. And I hear that. I don't like that. I think that's bullshit. I think that's sorry excuse of bullshit. Because and a lot of people, and he's hosting outings. I think he goes on some. And if I, people want to go with me, people want to host stuff, and it's like, you are responsible for what happens, what really can happen and stuff. And you're responsible for stuff. If I up, spent money, and all of a sudden I just sat at camp and didn't do nothing, I'd feel pretty fucking bad. If I took people out to the swamps of Michigan and, got pissed off at someone because of and just left them out there, I'd feel like shit. You can't call yourself a professional researcher. You can't say you can call yourself a man if you act like that, do that. So Chris has done some sort of things, and I don't remember him saying that he was pulled through a portal from his tent on the Crater. Would love to hear that, actually. I have not heard that. When I, I listened to all this, and I don't think Chris put out basically anything. And it was Chris and who was the other guy he was with? It was some guy from I think. He basically said, "I'm not putting out any video evidence, any of." I can't remember how he worded it, but basically, Robert was a bully or mean or something like that. And he basically wasn't going to show anything. And it was going to expose the lies of his side and versus Robert's side of, taking these fucking people out who for the last couple months have told me that they're training, they're taking this seriously, they're gun-ho. I wanted to go on that trip. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for sure, because you never know what can happen. The 168 was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It can never be replicated again. You get these chances to go on these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to go research for Bigfoot, and you get all hyped up, and you say you're training, and you're taking it seriously, and you're gung-ho, and you're professional, and you're talking the game, you're talking it up, and you're doing shows and this. When it's time to go, you don't do it. You don't, why waste the opportunity for someone else who will take it seriously, who will get the job done, who won't pussy out, who won't give up and say, well, it's too hot out. It's too hot out. It's too this, it's too that, there's too many bugs, it's too whatever. Who cares? You can complain about it when you're back home. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like this the first day. It's going to be like this the last day. Make the most of it. Because if not, you're wasting someone else's precious time, someone else's resources, someone else's spot. And the reason why this happens is because in the Bigfoot community, talking a big talk and all this game is valued more than actually going out there and getting shit done. It's easy to talk a big talk. It's easy to, have family and to do the Bigfoot 101 and, 168 was not the place for Bigfoot 101 to be considered a topic of discussion, let alone actually be taken seriously out there for people to sit and listen to and try. Same thing with, any real deal expedition where you're actually, in a crazy place and it's like dangerous and, and you want to be taken seriously. That's my opinion. Hey, you guys want to waste money and talk a big talk and do this professional cool shit, like actually be out in the fucking field for 8 hours, like putting a work shift in and actually getting off your ass and away from camp for 8 hours. That's a little hard for some people. It's not easy. It's easy to sit at camp and say, oh, I heard this and Bigfoot came over here and then we had this happen. But you didn't leave camp or anything. It's my opinion. Everyone else, I'm not saying that you can't stay at camp and have shit happen. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. You're just not, my opinion, it's not really much. It's not doing much. I'm not saying it's not viable. I'm just saying it's too easy for people to say that, yeah, I'm out researching and they're just sitting at camp and, oh, yeah, we heard something. It was just normal stuff going on. And they don't even go to check for tracks. They don't even go check to see what it was. They don't go check for anything. And it's just like lackluster. Oh, it's good enough. It doesn't really matter what we heard. It doesn't really matter what you found. To Larry, it doesn't really matter what you found the first couple of days. Because, these tracks that you're finding, So you pick your side, you pick your choices, you pick your friends, you pick your allegiances, your tribe, whatever. You pick people you want to listen to, stories, but I want you guys to keep that conscious, choice of, the truth versus reality and picking what you really value more. And unfortunately, if you value the truth, it is going to cut the fat off you. It's going to cut the fat off some of this community. And it's not going to be painless. It's going to hurt some people. It's going to suck. It's not going to be, clean. Want to wash the mud off of you, you're going to have to scrub. You might have to put some work into it. You might have to scrub it a couple times. If it matters to you, if it doesn't matter to you, yeah, it's just this stuff right here. Like, okay, come on now. Like, when I hear this, it's like, okay, well, you can certainly go and show us the hospital documentation that you actually had a retinal detachment, right? That's easy enough, because he could have had a retinal detachment and went to the hospital and papers and graphs or whatever. It's pretty easy enough to actually show. Plus, you actually, if you were serious enough to, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but you could always call a hospital and get your records pulled and show everyone. Now, to be able to prove that a Bigfoot did it and that it was Bigfoot radiation, then there's, come on now. But if he is, he's unwilling to show the documentation of his hospitalization for the detection and stuff, which I'm sure he can and stuff, because that's pretty common stuff that can happen with older people and depending on what happened. But I'm just saying, it's certain stories and stuff, like, you kind of have to question, like, did it really happen? Like, and especially stuff that can be easy, can kind of be easy to show too. Like, oh, show that, right? You can have documentation. Like Mr. Patrick Vaughn, actually, I believe he gave the interview with this might not have been Mark Newbell. This might have been someone else. I'm not remembering their name, but I'm pretty sure Patrick Vaughn said that he talked to a professional psychologist or therapist or someone, he said, that went on record. On record means that there's a record of it for everyone to see and to show. But this professional went on record to verify his experiences or whatever, however. Okay, Patrick, easy enough. Can you please, since he's on record, can you show us the record of him saying this and doing this? Well, I'm pretty sure if you press him hard enough that it's not going to happen. Even if you get one of his friends. Okay, you say this happened, it's on record, but then produce the record. Oh, you can't? Then why say it? And some people don't want to call people out on it, and that's fine. Some people want to be nice, don't want to be bullying and stuff. I think if you want to tolerate lies told to your face, then you're not standing up for yourself. And that's the very least of what you should do. So I can't believe everyone's tolerating it. So if there's any other questions, comments, concerns, advice, whatever, put them in the chat. We're going to wrap this up. I think we did enough talking, had enough conversation and stuff. I actually do have one last video I do need to show, actually. Kind of skipped over it. We started getting into things a little bit more. And I just really wanted to explain and hammer this, this versus reality in this. It's a pretty, it's a spectrum of things that everyone's dealing with. But I think for the most part, it's simply the truth versus fantasy, and whatever levels there are and stuff, it's still that same. So I do have a treat for you guys. We're going to go over this in the next. We're going to go take a look at this video in the next podcast also, but we're going to take a look at some actual, real interesting evidence. Real interesting stuff that I think is more interesting and looks to be more deserves our observation a bit more than some of this bullshit. And then maybe we'll make this happen. Maybe we'll make this happen right now too. All right, so what do you guys think about this?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Ini hari yang ke-5 kita mari pesak bakar hok lekak tapak kayu deh. Tu. Ni bakal kat tapak kayu tengok dek akak deh. Tengok air dalam limau baik. Petak mapuh hena dek akak lembu deh. Tengok ni. Tinggi tu air tu. Ni tanah. Tinggi tu. Tapi taklah we kerja air tu. Awak berarti sikit deh. Kata hari tahun ni boh jadi besar sungguh. Ni cara nanti ni tunjuk tapak kayu tengok ni. Ni cara nanti tinggi 100 ni. Tu ni lebih. Pun tengok ngah Taiwan dek akak deh. Tengoklah minta berartilah kerja air ni. Tolonglah dek akak tengok tapak kayu ni. Tak suka-suka dek akak deh. Sekarang ni dulu dah nak sampai tua ya lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, isn't that something that should interest each and every one of us? And we could dive into that and look at that, and I think we will next show. And see, now this is some of the stuff that should pique our interest next. Our brains thumping and stuff, and what do you say? I think he was speaking some type of. I have the feeling this might be somewhere like India, Pakistan, India because of the vegetation, and he appears to be a dialect. I know he says Allah at the end, which would mean God, which means he could be speaking some type of Islamic language or variation of it. The woman was wearing, could be from India and stuff like that too, but I didn't put. I don't know. I don't really doesn't really recognize. I don't really recognize the language off the bat, but I do know he get the assumption that it could be from India, maybe some Islamic influence there. Could be maybe in Pakistan, but the vegetation and stuff appears to be more potentially jungle-like and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what he said. Stuff I would hopefully try to find a video with actual subtitles, translation done into it. I guess there could be some programs where you just put audio into a program and then it says if it recognizes the language, but a lot more work than and this could be one of the reasons too. Could definitely be that. I was thinking that it could be fake. It could be paper mache cow and stuff, these paper mache, and it's it's just facing my way. I mean, that's where my brain kind of goes to too, but at the same time, it's pretty cool to see a cow up there and stuff too. But there are definitely hella floods and stuff. And we could take a look at that. You could, I guess, look at the vegetation and stuff to see if it looks like it's washed away, flooding. And it could be waterline marks. If it was flooded enough to have a cow up there, then I think we should be able to see that most of there should be damages and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at the video again. Maybe we can get a better sense about it.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Ini hari yang ke-5 kita mari pesak bakar hok lekak tapak kayu deh. Tu. Ni bakal kat tapak kayu tengok dek akak deh. Tengok air dalam limau baik. Petak mapuh hena dek akak lembu deh. Tengok ni. Tinggi tu air tu. Ni tanah. Tinggi tu. Tapi taklah we kerja air tu. Awak berarti sikit deh. Kata hari tahun ni boh jadi besar sungguh. Ni cara nanti ni tunjuk tapak kayu tengok ni. Ni cara nanti tinggi 100 ni. Tu ni lebih. Pun tengok ngah Taiwan dek akak deh. Tengoklah minta berartilah kerja air ni. Tolonglah dek akak tengok tapak kayu ni. Tak suka-suka dek akak deh. Sekarang ni dulu dah nak sampai tua ya lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Could be Southeast Asian influence with Islamic influence in there. It's probably like that, because when I look at him stuff, I mean, he could be from India, or he could be Southeast Asian, like Malaysian, or from Thailand and stuff. With they're speaking potentially Islamic, and I guess it'd be Aramaic or modern day Aramaic or whatever, and or whatever dialect and whatever country of origin it is from. It's kind of hard to tell. But for the flooding and stuff, what do you guys think? Well, like bones found in trees in Alaska, but the snow level is high in winter, and then in summer, people flip out and stuff. That'd be a good explanation for a lot of places that get exponential snowfalls. Doesn't work in places where they don't get a lot of snowfall, though. But could explain maybe how rocks and stuff get up, and some of those again were places where snow actually gets that fall up that much too. Yeah, again, if it's flooding and stuff, the floods, if it was that high, how long would it take to get all the way down to where they're walking, and it doesn't seem to be too muddy, or they're not struggling and sinking down? And it didn't look like a lot of, there's water up that high, and it's flooding that area. There'd be a lot more, in my opinion, devastation and debris and just masses of mud or mud and sticks and vegetation mixed. But I don't know. Someone could always get machinery back there, and it didn't look like machinery made any tracks out there, and just plop a dead cow in there. People had the means to do it. It could be done, and then to hoax us, people in some third world country or second world country trying to hoax us out. It can happen, but maybe it's paper mache, and it's someone just stuck up there. I don't know. I find it more interesting and more believable and interesting to look at and stuff. And come on, if these people are able to get some cool video like this, why can't we get video? Why couldn't Patrick Vaughn get some video of all this crazy stuff going on and interaction he's building up and stuff? When me and Jason went up to the UP, we about got them on camera, and we were only there for a week. If my headlamp didn't die, or he had a better IR light, we at least got the eye shining, we would see the silhouettes or something. So this whole idea of like, having equipment out there doesn't work, that's a lie. We had that experience when I had my gun on me. I've had experiences with Bigfoot when I'm carrying a rifle on me. And that experience, I pointed the gun towards them and then shouldered the rifle, and the Bigfoot encounter happened, and Jason starts rolling and stuff. So like this whole, like, you can't research, I can't get pictures of them, I can't do this, they don't trust me, it's bullshit. From my experience, my research and stuff, it's not going to be a factor. So, but repetitive going out there, research, and actual interactions, actual encounters will lead to interactions, which will lead to getting them on camera. It will happen. It's going to happen. And when it does happen, it has to be the truth, objectively the truth. And, no fantasy to bullshit, no, spicing it up a little bit. No, nothing like that. No. You have to be truthful. You have to show the truth, and you have to have integrity. And, that's why it's valued and stuff. And you know what? You want to know why I value the honesty about Bigfoot, the integrity, the professionalism, walking that narrow line of, and it's hard to walk that narrow line of truth. It's not easy. That's why it's narrow. That's why it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you want to know why I value it more than most? It's because honesty and the 7 grandfather teachings of the Algonquin language group of Native Americans, which encompasses a lot of different groups, mostly in Canada, and Michigan, and other places, is honesty. Bigfoot represents honesty in the 7 grandfather teachings of the Ojibwe, of the Algonquin, of the sister tribes, that all talk about the 7 grandfather teachings. Honesty. How ironic. And that we're dealing with this fantasy, storytelling, lies, bullshit, hoaxing, and Bigfoot represents honesty. I just find it, ironic that the most important thing in this subject should be honesty, should be the integrity, right? To stand for the truth, to be honest about yourself, to be honest about the research, about the experience, about the people that you're dealing with. If you're honest about the people you're dealing with and they're lying to your face, and you accept it, there's no honesty. You're not being honest about yourself, to yourself. Yes, sabe. Sabe is the Algonquin word, usually associated with the Ojibwe tribes, more northern Canada tribes like the Ojibwe and I believe the Cree and the Algonquin. There's an Algonquin tribe, but the Algonquin language is all of the language groups that these particular tribes spoke. They might have different cultures, a little bit different. The Ojibwe tribe is different than the Potawatomi tribe, which is different than the Ottawa tribe, even though they're all technically speaking the same languages, just slightly different dialect or a little different words and pronunciations and spellings. Most likely the same overall cultures and stuff, just slightly different sister tribes. So the Ojibwe are usually the ones who get associated with the word sabe, or the Algonquin language group. Sabe means honesty, is actually what the word means, and then it is their word for Bigfoot, sabe. So honesty is represented by sabe, by Bigfoot. So I think, when you're out there, I personally have talked about this. I've talked about this a long time, that real Bigfoot interaction and when they choose to interact with people, sometimes, in my opinion, is done with people who they want to interact with, because they look at people, they watch people, they see how they interact, and they don't want some drunk, snobby ass guy with a fucking gun, uncontrollable. He's uncontrollable, can't control himself. They're not going to want to interact with that. They're going to want to interact with calm, cool, collected people who probably have a little bit of integrity and honesty about themselves, that for whatever reason the Sasquatch like. And I believe that's a real thing because of what they observe, and they're people watchers, and they understand body language. They might understand facial language expressions and stuff from a human and stuff. They understand pointing and stuff. They might understand certain words, certainly mannerism, body language in the woods of pointing. Oh, I hear something over there. Did you hear something over that? They understand that when the flashlight goes this way, that people can only see this way. The flashlight's going this way. Pretty basic stuff. I think they choose to interact with people based on a number of things they observe that person doing, being respectful of the woods, a variety of things. It's a whole nother show to get into, but I think honesty, I think all the values of the 7 teachings, which I guess I can show, because these are right here. I think maybe Bigfoot values. Maybe they don't value. I don't know. They're just dumb big ape out there being wild and pissing on their own feet and shit. I don't know because I haven't experienced it enough to really be able to say, to think that they're a, type of person who understands us enough that they're not some wild monster that would just eat you, cannibalize you, that is somehow just undiscovered like that. But the only way to find out is to go out there and have actual experiences and actual, more than just experiences, but interaction. Interaction is what is going to get us anything. interaction caught on camera and audio, something gifted, actual interaction caught is what's really going to be the breakthrough. And I think with my experience with chasing up the UP, it is definitely 100% achievable because we did it and we caught it and we filmed it. We can improve on it and actually get them on camera at nighttime, because if they will do it once and they show themselves, they can potentially do it again. If it happens once in this place, it can definitely happen in other places around the country. So starting off the back from the first one, we have courage is from the bear. Now the saying underneath of them is just what some person wrote and stuff. Now the word and the representation of the bear is the actual key meaning that we need to focus on here, not what's written down underneath of them, because that's someone else's interpretation they threw onto this. Nah, they made the picture. But the bear represents courage and stuff. And this is very meaningful and stuff. The buffalo represents because of, you use you respect the animals that you kill, you respect nature, you respect everything. Of course, when we have over here, we have wisdom for the beaver. Of course, the beaver is wisdom enough to work on the things in slow progress. The dam doesn't start off magically as a full built project, but it is a slow process that you slowly have to work on. Of course, we have the wolf, meaning humility, of course, that representing it. And you guys can look on YouTube. We've played this videos on here of the grandfather teachings and stuff, and them the words being taught to you by actual Native American people and elders who can talk to you about it. Of course, so the wolf being humility, of course, Sabe being honesty, and we talked a little bit about that. And then I can't see it right now, and if I move too much, but we have the eagle representing. I'm gonna have to look for a second. I move too much and stuff. I don't want my green screen to get caught on the chair, fall down, and cause a big commotion. So it's the 7 grandfather teachings. That's all you have to do. And is love. Love is represented by the eagle, and then of course represented. I'm always opposite. The truth is represented by the turtle. So you guys should listen to after this. Go listen up the 7 grandfather teachings, because they are definitely teachings that could help you in your life, help you in your way about going about dealing with everything, honestly. So it's pretty cool stuff. If you want to really get into kind of some crazy stuff, some little bit of deeper stuff, you guys can look up the prophecy of fire and the 8 prophecies or something like that. And they talk about the Native Americans to Michigan and some of the white man and prophecies of the future that are very interesting, because these prophecies came actually before the introduction of the white man, and yet they prophesized to the white people and prophesized what would happen to the world if we didn't follow the 7 grandfather teachings, and we weren't and didn't value love more than greed and stuff. What would happen to the world and what would happen to ourselves? And we actually can kind of see what kind of those effects on the world right now. And it's one of these things that I think is very insightful, and wisdom from the ancient tribes, and how we can use it in the modern times. And you might stumble along the way and find some other cool Native American stuff to look into. 7 grandfather teachings, the prophecy of fire, the Potawatomi, or the tribes of the Great Lakes, the Ojibwe, and the Ottawa in the east, and the south and west of Michigan, and the Great Lakes region is starts in their story. They of course have the came together and formed the Council of Fire, couple different variations on the story of the original, of basically a gigantic war and fathers losing their sons. But what were they all coming together to unite to fight against is a bigger question, and we can get into that because it talks about, or it gets into copper giants, copper mountain people, and some other potential humans or species of humans that were here that the natives were actually fighting against here in Michigan and other places too. You can find legends of that, references of that, if you dig deep enough and you look into the Algonquin culture and stuff like that, and other cultures too, because a lot of people talk about a lot of different Native Americans have a lot of different cultures and a lot of different stories about a lot of stuff, and a lot of very similar old, particular hero went out and fighting the monsters and might have different names and stuff, but representation of the same character of some very ancient stories that must have had great impact on the lives of the people living in North America. So, without that further ado, I don't see any more questions and stuff like that. So we're going to be shutting the stream down. Hopefully everyone had a good time and stuff. If everyone looked at some of the stuff that were presented with an open mind and will do their own research and listen to some of these stories and potential mannerisms and facial expression of these hoaxers, try to determine if they're telling you full of bullshit stories, and deter and think about what you value in this subject of Bigfoot research. And if you're a researcher, if you value the truth or you value fantasy, if you value the politics more, the friendship more, why are you in this subject? Why are you doing this? What are you in this for? And I think people are going to make some choices and stuff. Appreciate everyone who joined and stuff, Iron Dogger and stuff, for the conversation, discussion, a little bit of disagreement and stuff, but that is okay here. You won't be blocked, you won't be hated or censored. Everything is good. We'll keep doing that. Opinions and stuff are, of course. Oh yeah, I forgot. I slipped my mind, Jimbo. Yes, you did say, could we see a little bit of stuff on the 168? There is some stuff that you can see in the 168 that I shot. I'll show you guys here. There's a lot of stuff that I have that has never been shown that I will show. There's a lot of there's one particular piece of evidence that potentially out there. I don't know if it would be shown, but it definitely is one of the videos that would have just made everything crazier and stuff. Actually, a film of a Sasquatch crossing the trail, spider crawling. Now, it would have been up for debate and stuff because the details was good as me seeing it. But okay, let me try to find this fast. But I definitely filmed something crossing the road, and it was a bald-headed humanoid creature that crawled like that and looked at me like this. And when it realized I was looking at him, it quickly darted across the trail. Now, my opinion, a regular animal is not going to look at you and recognize that you're watching it right away and then dart away. It was very bald-headed, humanoid-looking. When they say that it's spider crawling, it is definitely abnormal looking to watch a humanoid thing spider crawl or slink around like a cat. I mean, kind of like a cat. Cats all the way down, and they kind of slink around, really stealthy and stuff. That's what it reminded me of. It was watching us, and then when it crossed the road, it beelined right towards the other group of people. And, in that moment when shit's really going down and you're trying to alert other people and you have other people who, aren't really valuing what you say. You know, they aren't taking it. It's like, okay, well, it's right there around you. So, and again, it's right there around them. They're hearing a little bit of this and like that, and yet it's still able to be undetected. And what's the literally human like crawling, and it's like a less than 2 feet off the ground at times. I mean, onto the ground. You know, when everyone thinks Bigfoot's, looking and walking around, man, these things are like less than 2 feet off the ground crawling. So here's some video. We shot right here. This is my personal video of the 168 that I shot. And right here in the middle, actually there's a little bit of shine over there, but here in the middle, you'll see that red eye shine right there. So a little bit of stuff. This was actually the last day. Now in the documentary, this event was portrayed as happening at a different date than the last day. And that was because the documentary, and it fit that. And at the time, I don't think Carrie was thinking about making another one or didn't know. And there was other stuff that didn't get found. But long story short, I did film this. You see the red eye shine in the middle. Of course, it goes away. Now, when the audio plays, I say, I get red eye shine. There's red eye shine here. And then I put the it's an IR light, so that purple light is an IR light that is not visible to the naked eye. So when you see that purple and stuff, it's actually an invisible IR light that you can't see to the naked eye. I'm using the Psionics Night Vision Aurora Pro, which is it's an okay camera. It's good. It does what it does, get color and stuff, but it has a lot of noise pixelization a lot of the time. So you're not going to get the best clear footage, but it is very interesting. And I would love to do a lot more testing with it. Animal eye shine and colors that they would get off the IR light and stuff, but I don't have access to do that. So when I shine the IR light on it, take the IR light and I go back and forth with it because 1,000 things are running in my brain at once, but I want to try to where I put it back on and then I take it away right here. I'm trying to figure out if it can see the IR light or if it can't. And from my perception is when I kept shining the IR light onto it, it's lost cryptids crew was, it was just us out there. We were experiencing the stuff and we were hearing some stuff and we were in a really good spot. And I walked over to that spot where I thought I was hearing something, and I'm right there trying to film it. And this was actually the very last night of the 168. I actually got some footage of Carrie and us at the bonfire and just kind of talking a little bit. And then Christopher Noel's with us. And on the walk back, we actually have some type of experience. Something's going on. There's some sounds. Potentially something's being thrown. Christopher Noel hears some stuff being thrown. Me and Josh are hearing stuff. And we're out there investigating, walking around, trying to walk to the sounds. And it seemed to go in a circle around us. And then, of course, we get back to the other people and talk about it to Carrie. And, Carrie didn't want to go out there. He was still kind of sketched out. And, we packed up and went back. And then me and Chad and Josh wanted to continue to go out. And of course, no one else was going with us. But we went out to that spot and had some pretty interesting activity happen. And I got that to be recorded. So I got this, and the other piece of evidence that I shot was a potential creature crossing the road, and it was shot on Carrie's one of his professional cameras that he had. Now, when everything was looked at and gone through, Carrie, and you can see this in interviews, he was not able to look at every single thing and how everything was shot to find, a 10-second clip in a, hour or 2 hour long footage of camera that was shot because people didn't shoot the right way. And he also, you can listen to him say that he didn't feel like he could make another documentary because there's not enough, because we're not in the field enough talking about like what's happening, or there's not enough of us like talking or explaining certain key details that would help a documentary. Just remember the storyline, and pushing that storyline and stuff. It would help that. Now, if you're trying to just objectively find the evidence, put the evidence out there. I think there was a heck of a lot more stuff that should have got put out, and maybe I think would have, with more time and patience and convincing. Carrie would have, I'm sure, hopefully worked at it. Now, I do know this because I listened to Carrie say it from an interview on Bigfoot Odyssey, that he gave the storage device of all of the videos to Mark Zasky from Crypto Reality for him to work on. Now, Carrie did say to some people who were nagging him about the fucking footage and all this and all that the footage was erased, that the footage was gone. But in fact, he did give an interview and did say that this was after he told other people this, that he gave it to Mark. Mark has it and stuff. And then, of course, I think maybe 2 months or a couple months later, maybe a couple months, or not a lot, a couple months, tragedy struck. And of course, then you had a bunch of drama, and you had one particular jackass who were jumping sides, hounding me in the background about, about fucking Mark having the storage device and everything should go to Linda. And then this guy jumps ship, and then it's all buddy with Mark, and only cares about, I only think cares about the Mark because Mark has the footage and stuff. But on in front of everyone, he, plays one side and the other. That's the Brett Michaels wannabe guy down in Florida. I'm sure if you guys know him well enough, you'll know. Brett Michaels wannabe. Dude, he thinks he was Brett Michaels for a couple years. Country singer. And, he has a whole story when he was a kid about a Bigfoot breaking into his house, and that I think is bullshit. I don't know. So, long story short, there's, yeah. So maybe Mark Zasky will potentially have stuff come out. Other people have evidence of orbs, supposedly. I would love to see. There's supposedly audio. I know there's a couple 4-hour long piece of audio that we got, that we set out. There's some smaller clips too. There should be like a 20-minute section of audio that we set up when we were investigating the lost cryptids. We're investigating this piece of a strip of woods right up to the woods, and we were hearing these growls or something. We had the recorder on top of the car. We recorded it. Of course, at the time, Josh, who was more familiar with alligators and stuff from Texas and actually had experience, were saying if that was from an alligator, it would be a massive, like 20-foot alligator. It would be just preposterably huge to be growling like this, and from how far we were. So we thought we was Bigfoot and stuff. Of course, we recorded it, we downloaded it to the hard drives and stuff, and then so hopefully, there's a lot of potential evidence, I hope, still intact and on the hard drive and still able to be accessed and will eventually be presented, because there's some great pieces of evidence, some evidence that I want to see from other people, from experience, other people having experiences. I think me and Josh filmed some psionics in a sky at a different place than other people having orb experiences. So it's just not labeled properly, and it's you're looking for a 10-second clip in a 30-minute long video that someone has to sit down and Mark doesn't know where anything's at. Someone's probably talking to him, helping him. So he is looking for a needle in a haystack. And if he blinks or he looks away and he's not paying attention for 10 seconds, he could potentially miss a piece of credible evidence that one of us worked on and actually, know and hope that it comes out, and it's gone. It's missed. And then if he decides that that video clip has nothing of value and it's just taking up space and it gets erased or whatever, well, then it's gone forever. So that's kind of where it's at, and if he, I think there's some issue about trying to get everything back to Linda and lawyers and this and that. I mean, I don't think Linda's going to look at anything and put anything out. She doesn't know what she's looking for or anything like that. So again, it's not really good. The odds of some of the stuff coming out is not, it's not good, which I don't like, which a lot of people don't like, because if you filmed it and stuff, it was supposed to be shown, and we were supposed to have rights and stuff to it, photography rights, and kind of at least talk about it and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that it's not out, and I learned a lot from that. I learned not to rely on other people to make the evidence come out, but actually push and fight and work hard to make sure that stuff that you want to come out and know is there is properly worked on and done. Because if you don't do nothing and you rely on other people, so it's like you rely on other people to hopefully do what you want, and when they don't have a roadmap and they don't know anything and they don't have the time and the energy and the but I think that with more time, there probably was going to be another episode of 168 part 2, or maybe the 168 extra evidence, or just stuff to show more stuff that was found. I think a little bit more patience. I personally maybe should have worked on it, talked a bit more. Maybe other people should have, and it'd have been different. But it is what it is now, and it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I valued it very much. I learned a lot. It was a lot of good from my experience, a lot of bad stuff that I learned, a lot of crappy people I learned about, a lot of good stuff, a lot of great people, a lot of drama that I learned about after the fact from my own group that I brought up there, that we brought, and then other people who were there who were trying to cause drama. And honestly, it's one Carrie, it didn't matter what other people told about you. It was your experience with him. And it was until that experience with him that he led by and stuff. So there was definitely drama at the 168, even though that's not what, Carrie was about. And it's unfortunate. That's just what happens. And as a leader figure, Carrie was always had, someone's mouth was moving, and drama, or a lot of good things too. But, it's, it is. I don't know about, who has all Carrie's film and all this and all that. From what I know personally, what I've heard, you guys can look on these Bigfoot Odyssey podcasts and interviews, last couple of interviews that Carrie did. He gave the storage device hard drive with the data and the evidence to Mark Zasky for him to deal with, because Carrie didn't have enough time. He was getting frustrated. A lot of people were bugging him about it. And he started saying that, and I'm sure you can find an interview, that the hard drive, got deleted or wiped or got messed up and stuff. I know for a fact he told one person. And when I told that person that, it's still intact and Mark Zasky has it, he calling me a liar, full out bullshit. And then, of course, he's out Mark Zasky's ass all the time, I'm sure, hoping to have some stuff come out. But I think Zasky has to maybe has one camera that he's not giving back or is giving back. I don't fucking know. Not really my place to get into. But you can watch the interviews where Carrie gave him the equipment and says this is his. I mean, with the storage device, it's like, this is yours to work on and use for the 168 and for the Crypto or Odyssey or whatever it is and stuff. So I do know that. Now the whole legal issue of trying to get everything else back, I don't know. But does anyone have a legal right to the footage and film that they filmed as photography? To have rights for that footage to come out and stuff? Do they have a say or anything, or is it just because someone else owns it and stuff? Because we were on the assumption and were told that, you know, if we shot footage and stuff, it would come out and it'd be talked about and we would be known for it and stuff like that. So a lot of pieces of evidence. A lot of people want to come out and they just want the evidence to come out. They don't give a shit, you know. Don't want to be a part of the drama. Don't want to be part of the politics. Don't care who has it. Just objectively let the evidence come out. So, well, it wasn't lost. And there was a second hard drive that got sent to a former member of the Lost Cryptids Community, Cryptids group, who was government, and now he's cross-dressing, and he stole a bunch of equipment from Chad and stole some of my stuff, and we had our own drama there. Now, he actually had a second copy of all the hard drive and all the evidence that he refused to give to me. Carrie didn't want to get involved, and it's like, I don't know. Who knows what happened to that? I don't know. He's cross-dressing now. He stole a bunch of stuff from other people, so it's like I don't want to deal with it. I don't know. So there is a second copy of the hard drive with potentially everything else that is existing that is never going to come out because the guy's wacko or he's government or whatever, which is, you know, to conduct yourself in like that and be sneaky and steal and act like that. It's not a good representation of, or maybe it is. Hard to say anymore. So, yeah. Linda does, you know, deserve peace, and she doesn't really give a fuck about the Bigfoot shit and, you know, all that, and I don't blame her, but, you know. So who knows what's actually going on, because, you know, if there is legal beagle stuff going on, I don't think it's going to be advertised on the Bigfoot community for us to really know, but, you know, I hope like the evidence comes out objectively and it just gets shown and we can talk about it. It doesn't have to be this big ass fucking drama and this big ass like thing. Like a lot of people worked on it. It should get looked at, you know. I would have loved, I know I should have pushed harder and, you know, got a copy, got the copy, got the second copy, third copy, whatever, and looked through shit and found stuff and said, hey, Carrie, I found this cool, interesting clip, and just help him. He needed help. They need people help. This is what it is. And it's just, it sucked, and you can see the frustration that happened. But I think 168 happened. It's a good documentary. There's some stuff that I definitely, some stuff that I disagree with because it wasn't really shot at the documentary and stuff like that. Some more stuff that could be added. I think if people didn't rush him and bug him, and I think if he had 6 more months to work on it and look at all the footage, I think it would have been better and we had more stuff. But you know, people demanded the content to come out, and you had a little bit of a rush on the final product. So. And it's fine. It's okay. It came out great. It was a love, but at the same time, you know, it was a documentary, and there was some stuff that, you know, was misleading a little bit. You know, I think Carrie said that the footage I shot was presented as being shot much earlier in the week than actually the last day that we shot it. So, I mean, you know, there's some lies and stuff there. I wouldn't say it's totally lies, but again, it's more for the storytelling, and, you know, it makes the story fit. And also, you know, he didn't have footage and didn't have all the evidence and didn't really have the last couple of days either set up and ready to go where that should have actually been placed at either. So you have a rushed product, you know, you find some evidence, you want to put it in, stuff like that. So, hey, you know, if I was in the position, I think I would have done the same thing, same thing. It came out great, 160,000 views. I think it has. I just was watching it, looked at it a little bit earlier, 2 weeks ago or whatever. 160,000 views. Not too bad, you know. I'm not complaining and stuff. I'm trying to just, you know, objectively tell the truth from what I've experienced. This kick-ass once in a lifetime experience. You know, it's pretty cool to tell people, oh, I'm on this Bigfoot documentary, 160,000 views or whatever, and I talk about the Native American aspect of it, and it sucks that won't be another one. And but I think what would have happened on the next one is the same situation we would have came into this. What we talk about now is the reality versus fantasy, because you had, you know, team leaders, and the first one who was supposed to lead, team leaders, you know, go out there, you know, decide what's going on and do all this. Well, that didn't happen. Mark Newbo was a team leader, and Squatching Strategies, I can't remember his name. You remember Squatching Strategies, right? I mean, he's nowhere to be found now because he does, you know, but talking a big game and all this, and, you know, no one stepped up to do anything. That's why the Lost Crypto just started doing shit. You can watch the interviews of Carrie saying this and Carrie that. And because it wasn't supposed to be a vacation. Some people treated it as such. People had a different, amazing experience. And, you know, they had a vacation and this and that. They did experience a little bit of stuff too, but the next one, and I told Carrie, and I think Carrie started talking about this, and I started talking about this. It was work, 8-hour shift work. And you start hearing Carrie say, you know, when he says, you know, we're going to be doing this, and, you know, it's going to be like real work. I was saying, I was getting, like, you know, trying to hype everyone up, like, you know, put in fucking 8 hours. You put an 8-hour shift, like, just like work. Okay, put in 8 hours and then rest. You know, that's all you got to do. Like, put the fucking 8 hours in. Guess what? It's going to be hot. It's 90 degrees. Well, it's 90 degrees every single day here in Florida, so get used to it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. If you can't handle it, you shouldn't have came. You're wasting a seat for someone else more capable and willing to go out there and do it. That's my opinion. I think we would have faced more and more of that. Because when you're actually out there and you want to get to the real deal shit, and you're next to someone who's full of fantasy and isn't the real deal, and they don't want to do the real shit, well, you're going to find out real fucking quick who real people are and who's not, who's full of talk. It's nice sounding talk. It's beautiful. It's very well put together, very elegant, but it's cheap. And that's all it is. That talking don't do much out in the woods. You're going to sit there and talk. Trust me. You guys deal with it and experience it firsthand. You'll know what I'm talking about. Yes, Carrie had the utmost knack for organization skills and getting everyone on board to actually cooperate and do everything and you know, get an expedition going. Love it. But when the problem is, you know, you invite all everyone else and you find out what they're truly about when you ask them to go out and put some work in. But enough of that. Hopefully that was enough for you, Jimbo and stuff, to talk about the 168 and stuff. I got some stuff that I'm trying to put together. I'm really hoping that some footage comes out so I can use to put out this footage and all this, but I think we'll be waiting way too long. I guess I should. Hopefully, without anyone else's further questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, we'll be shutting the show finally down. We got into another spielio, but I did say to Jimbo I would talk about the 168 a little bit and answer his questions, show a little bit of evidence. Oh, I do have this video. All right. Sweet. All right. Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed the show. I appreciate everyone who sat and watched the entire thing. whether you agreed with me or disagreed and stuff. And you can, of course, comment your opinion in the comments. You won't be censored or blocked unless you actually give me a damn good reason to. No one has been blocked or censored on my channel. So if anyone claims to be, I'll definitely tell you if I have or haven't. But no one has been blocked. So if they're telling you that I blocked them, they're full of shit and they're lying to your fucking face. So appreciate everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, doing good. God bless everyone. Take care. Be strong. Have the willpower to stand up for what's right, no matter who is against you. Because all it takes for evil to win, to thrive, to survive, to grow, is for good men to do nothing, to say nothing, to keep quiet, keep in line, keep the head down, turn that cheek, because it doesn't really matter until it does. All right, I'll catch everyone on the next live stream as we get to another heavy-handed show, and appreciate every one of you. So take care.